And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, as always, to the 10th round of the 2020/2021 at this point, Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series season. Tonight we come to you live from the lovely Iowa Speedway, our third oval of the season, our first short oval, that being our first oval under a mile. So certainly the shortest race of the season. We're running it, as you can see, at night, so definitely a bit of a change from the usual here. Definitely a different look for the series, but I'm hoping for some great racing tonight. I hope you are all prepared for said great racing. We have a great field for you tonight, including a return from our so-called Oval Master, as we call him in our series, the winner of his only race of the season at Texas earlier this year, Mr. Michael Krobach. We will be short of Trevor Anderson in tonight's race, a championship contender who will still be in championship contention thanks to our drop race system, but he will be absent from tonight's race. But with that being said, that is all the details we need to go over for, some housekeeping before we get going tonight. But as always, thank you everybody for coming out to these broadcasts. It's always a pleasure to bring you this live every Friday. It's should be a great race tonight, and we're getting late into our series. These are mattering more and more in the points, and well, the points have been an absolute joy to watch this year. They've changed so much. We have so many different contenders, and our championship battle going into tonight's race is closer than ever. We'll talk about that in a moment, but before we get to that, here is my horrible portrait. I am, as always, your commentator / series producer / broadcast producer, Mr. Marshall Crocker Jr. I am alone in the booth tonight, but as always, we have our race director, Mr. Vince Ball, who takes care of everything behind the scenes from a race director's perspective, getting the broadcast up to speed and making sure that, getting the actual race side up to speed, making sure the drivers know what's happening, making sure nobody's doing anything illegal. So I just want to give him a shout out tonight before we get going to the real race. But as you can see, the cars in the background, we have a pretty stacked field here at Iowa. Plenty of cars just getting their final laps ready before we go to qualifying in just a moment. And before we do that, let's just throw up your championship points heading into tonight's race at Iowa. So of course this is round 10 of a 15-round calendar. We're getting late into the season. We're quite a ways in at this point, so certainly the points in this race matter more than ever. You get 50 for a win, and then about 5 and 2 intervals back from there. So certainly a lot of points up for grabs in tonight's race, and maybe we'll even see our 7th different winner of the season. But coming into tonight, here is the overall championship standing. So remember, in this series, we have 2 championship points formats. We have the overall championship points, which represents everybody's pure points to this point. But the points that actually matter for the real championship are slightly different. Those are our drop race points that I will show you in a moment that allow 2 drop races for each driver, those being the worst races those drivers have to that point in the season. So we will be sure to clarify that. But here is the points overall. So Logan Paxi, your current points leader, with 391. Then it is Andrew Bedrosian with 356, Trevor Anderson with 299, 294 for Max Preston, and then a very close battle in the midfield there between Tim Salvatore, Carl Dronke, and David Paxa after that. You can see your way down the field. There are the points to this point, including the country of origin for every driver. But that is only our overall standings. These here are the points that we care about for the overall championship. So these are the points that will determine our championship at the end of the season, including the 2 worst races for every driver being dropped off their point totals. So that still allows Logan to be your championship points leader with 35, I should say. But after that, Andrew Bedrosian with 316, Max Preston with 294, then Trevor Anderson not too far back with 281. So definitely a lot of guys with the ability to throw their hat in the ring for a championship. A win here for either Andrew, Max, Trevor's not here, but Carl as well as Tim Salvatore would be huge for any of those 4 guys to move them up the championship order. And guys like Max and Andrew could potentially put themselves at the top of the point standings after tonight. But of course, Logan Paxa is the guy to beat. He is here. He is your points leader, and well, he's had a great season to this point. He didn't win last week. That was Andrew getting his first win of the season at Olton Park. But certainly you got to think he's going for number 6 and his first oval win of the season, and his first oval win in the last probably 20 races in a series I've put on. Certainly that's been more so Michael Krobach and a couple other guys' domains. So that will be a storyline to watch out for tonight. We'll see if Logan can move into the other discipline that he is, still successful at traditionally, but perhaps slightly less so than road courses. But with that being said, we got to go down to the actual track for some of the action from tonight's race, as we are just getting into your qualifying event for tonight's race. Let's just, there we go, put up the time for the session. We're going to go on track with, let's start with David Paxa, a guy that has had a successful last couple of races. Certainly maybe hasn't put it in the podium positions, maybe the top of the order, as I'm sure he'd like, but he's been consistent these last couple of races, getting good finishes, and ever since Detroit, he's really been on his game. So tonight went to both practice races this week, meaning that, well, he's certainly practiced up for tonight's event. So we'll see if all that practice does pay off, as we would hope it would. Logan Paxa, though, appears to be the first driver on track ready to set a lap. Logan Paxa, of course, David Paxa's son here, so there you see his time on the board, getting ready to set his first time of the race. We should probably be seeing 21-second laps, realistically, as the top of the timesheet for tonight's race, so we'll see if that does hold true. Michael Krobach goes to the pole for the time being. We're going to see laps coming up quick, because, as I mentioned, very short oval here at Iowa. We're going to see about 21-second laps, so Michael will be the first driver to break into the 21.1s. We're going to likely see a pole time here in the high 20s. So some quick laps here. 175 lap race tonight, which goes by quick with short laps. But Tanner Digner goes to the pole, but Michael Krobach immediately beats him back for it. But John Guerra, there's a new name on the top of the qualifying sheets for this season. Always very quick at ovals. It's a discipline that I've had a lot of history with racing him. I have raced him personally before. I used to host a part-time oval series that he was always a very frequent participant in. So he's got plenty of practice in that respect, so John is currently in the draft, so we'll see if he's able to use that slipstream to improve his pole time for the time being. But Andrew Bedrosian as well, he's going to dip off the track and let some lead cars by as he waits for the pack to catch up, or maybe he's heading back to the pits, but he puts in a lap that'll put him third. Looks like we have 15 drivers participating in tonight's event, which is great to see. Great turnout, and I love to see as many guys making it out as possible. Looks like slight internet troubles for whoever that was, but Rich Foligno is going to go third there in the Labatt Blue number 99 car. Of course, his number will be a little bit off. I haven't updated the colors since he changed his scheme, but it is changed in the post-race graphics. So Rich Foligno, a guy that was really quick in our practice races this week for sure. He beat myself in the race the other night. And last night he was one of the quickest in the field, led a significant portion of our practice race. So Rich Foligno finished fourth last week, almost broke into the podium for the first time this season. Maybe this is his time to go big and go for the whole thing. Tim Salvatore also moves himself into the top 5 here with a lap just barely behind the number 5 of Andrew Bedrosian. He's got David Paxa right behind him, trying to get as much of a slipstream as he can. David Paxa, speaking of, is going to move up to second on the board. Logan Paxa will jump to third, so now 2 Paxas here in the top 3. Michael Krobach still in 4th, Rich Foligno in 5th. Guys getting pushed out as a result of all these quick laps being run. Tanner Digner, Max Preston, and Justin Lewick will round out your top 10. Only Marshall Crocker Sr. has yet to run a lap at this point. Logan Paxa right behind the 99 car Foligno. Now Marshall Crocker runs a lap, so now every driver in tonight's race has run a lap on the board. There is Marshall Crocker Sr. in the 15 blue car. Not sure what sponsor it is, but that is a new scheme for him as well. So lots of blue schemes in tonight's race. Manuel Guerra will improve quite a few spots. He's going to jump up to 8th, so both of the Guerra brothers having a successful qualifying session to this point. Tim Salvatore jumps to the pole, though. Great lap there from the number 91 car, putting it in the 20.8s, a full 10th clear of anybody else to run a lap yet. So the 91 car with about 6 minutes left in qualifying, certainly setting a lap that'll be difficult to beat. But one thing to mention is as we go on in this session, the tires are going to get more and more up to temp. Guys are going to have more and more grip, and they also burn off more fuel. So realistically, we should be seeing laps get quicker and quicker as the session goes on, and well, Tim will certainly have to put in perhaps a better time than that if he wants to ensure a guarantee that he'll be the pole sitter tonight, but a lap like that is certainly competitive enough to put his name in the hat as far as the rest of the session goes. Huge, you can see just how close guys are getting here in this point in the session. I mean, look at how close the racing is here at Iowa. Not a ton of room on the track, and you're not allowed to use the apron there on the inside, so not a ton of room to work with, though. Tim just got hit by somebody. I think made contact there with the 15 of Marshall Crocker Sr., so he's going to bounce up there and might be off the pace if he has tire damage. So, well, Tim's chances for tonight might just get a little bit more difficult, but he's going to head to the pits, and he will take another swing at it, I'm sure, once he gets out. Michael Krobach also is exiting the pits. He was the only driver in the pits at the time, so he would come back on track and attempt to improve his lap. Keep an eye, though, on Jack Hillier, who currently at the bottom of the timetable, but he did set a quickest sector in Sector 1. Might improve slightly. Now, it looks like he'll stay 15th for the time being. Guys, just kind of running in the 22s. Really here, it's so much about just picking a good lap where you can be in traffic and get the slipstream from the guys in front of you. That's kind of the name of the game here. And Carl Dronke, who just moved himself up to 11th, is in a good position to do just that. He is sitting behind a large pack of cars, so if he's able to capitalize on that and take advantage of his positioning, he could put in a good lap here. You see several more names there on the bottom. It's almost too quick to allow to update, but Carl will move up 2 more spots, so he'll push Tanner Digner and Max Preston down a spot, and he'll move up to 9th. Tim Salvatore, your pole sitter, currently the only car in the pits, Caleb Campbell just left the pits, currently on his out lap there, as you can see on the timing tower. So really, everybody in the running here, you see this huge pack of cars just getting set up and ready to put down a lap. Andrew Bedrosian's going to jump to 3rd. Carl Dronke's going to jump to 8th, so Carl slowly working his way up the order, and if he can stay on the slipstream here, he should be okay. Jack Hillier on the bottom there, you saw spinning around, is going to have to get back up to speed if he wants to improve from the bottom of the table, but certainly has room to do so. As, yeah, well, if you can just get a good, slipstream run and get a good lap put down, certainly easy to improve a significant number of spots there from the bottom, so hoping Jack Hillier does do just that. But look again at this big pack of cars. Carl Drunke's in a good spot, but maybe let's go to, trying to think of somebody we haven't talked much about. Caleb Campbell's there on the outside, a little bit off the pace, maybe just waiting for the field to catch up in order to get a good slipstream going on this next lap. But here's the back of the pack, and these are probably the guys you're most envious of if you're anybody on track, because the guys at the back obviously have the most cars in front of them and hence have the best slipstream chance. So you see Logan Paxa slipstreaming right on the back of another car. He currently sits on the outside of the top 5, looking to move his way up maybe into the top 3. He was slipstreaming there quite a bit on, I think that's Manuel Guerra. That's the more white Diabolique Motorsports yellow car there. So wasn't able to improve. We've kind of seen a stagnating standings board here. We haven't really seen too much movement in the timing tower, so guys just having trouble improving their laps. Everybody's kind of gotten into one big pack, and means it's a little bit more congested, tougher to run on your own once you do get that slipstream and hit the apexes as well as you need to put in a pole time. Caleb Campbell's lap will improve slightly, but he is not going to move up the timing board. Look at this huge crash between Andrew Bedrosian, Logan Paxa involved. Another car as well, I believe, was maybe it was Tanner Dignard. So your top 2 drivers in the championship both getting in a wreck, and that was Tanner Dignard that was involved as well. They're going to head back out as quick as they can and attempt to put down one more lap. But really, for the time being, it looks like the Tim Salvatore show. Again, nobody got into the 20.8s except him to this point. Putting up a great fight is Tim for his first pole of the season. That's Justin Lewick there we see on the top of our screen. I think he got into a wall there on the outside that maybe messed up his steering a little bit, meant that he was off the pace for the next corner, and maybe that caused a wreck with a difference in speeds there, would be my assumption. So now we're going to head back up to, that is the onboard for Tim Salvatore there. You see that maroon car in the background with Manuel Guerra underneath him. Then it's Marshall Crocker Sr. That's Rich Foligno up to his top side. Only 2 minutes left to go in qualifying, so if guys want to dethrone Tim for that top spot in tonight's event, they're going to really have to hurry. Caleb Campbell will move up quite a few spots, jumps 5 spots all the way to 8th, so the number 11 car. Not a bad qualifying performance for him at all. Certainly easy to move up in the race from that spot. See Tanner Dignard, and that's Tim Salvatore drafting on the back of Caleb Campbell, now drafting on the back of the Diabolique Motorsports car, so might be a good lap here for him, but it looks like he will not improve his pole time. Michael Krobach will come back into the pit lane, so you're one of your 2 drivers to win an oval race so far this season has now bowed out into the pits and will likely not qualify in the top 6 as well. Tim Salvatore is going to dive off on the pit road, or at least the pit entry road there off the backstretch, so he is out of the running for improving his time, meaning that John Guerra becomes the highest placed car still on track. We'll see if the number 8 car can improve his spot from there. He's got a huge run of or a huge pack of cars there right behind trying to chase him down. Jack Hillier ran a personal best there in the first sector. Maybe the number 18 car will have something to say about improving his lap. No, he's going to stay at a 22.6, so he will stay at the bottom for now. No other movement other than that. And we got 30 seconds left before the checkered flag comes out and drivers have to finish up their current lap and are unable to start a new one. So not much time left. We'll see if anybody has any final pace left in them, maybe to improve and get one more good slipstream before the end of the session. Andrew Bedrosian's coming back out, but he's not going to have enough time to run a new lap. So Salvatore, Bedrosian, Foligno, and Guerra are done for the session. They will not have time to improve their laps. Besides that, though, Jack Hillier and Marshall Crocker, we see on screen, the 2 guys right here. So Marshall Crocker there in the 15 blue entry that I still don't know the sponsorship of is on the bottom, makes the move past Jack Hillier. That's Max Preston, I think, just behind those 2 guys. Max only running 12th, actually improves to 10th right as we go to him, so he will improve. Justin Lewick will improve to 8th. I think I saw Marshall Crocker's lap improve, but it won't be enough to move up the timing sheets here. And the caution has come out, so drivers are able to finish up their current lap, but if we don't see any improvements, then that is the end of the session, and Tim Salvatore will take away the bonus points for the pole. Caleb Campbell and Andrew Bedrosian just came together. Somebody just moved up the board. Who was that? Michael Krobach will jump to 2nd. Paxa jumps to 3rd out of nowhere. So in the very last lap, we do see some guys putting up a good fight there for that number 1 spot, but Michael Krobach in the Alpha Tower entry just not quite having the pace that he needed there to get the pole. So he was very close. Great work to Michael there to recover from being in the pits. I thought he was out of the event, but In the end, it looked like he had enough pace to at least put himself second, put himself in the front row for the start of tonight's race. But let's throw up, actually, we'll put up the grid instead. I don't know, he's like the just flat results entry there. Well, this is not bad. Actually, we'll do it the F1 style. We'll go from the back of the field to the front. Starting at the tail of the field tonight is Jack Hillier in the number 18 car. He will start in his own row, which could be advantageous for his starting situation. It means he doesn't have to worry about a car to his inside on the start. But on the start of row number, I think that's row number 7, is Marshall Crocker in the 15 car with Manuel Guerra in the 12 to his inside. Then after that, it is Max Preston on the outside of row number 6 with Tanner Digner to his inside. Running out the top 10, it was Caleb Campbell there with Justin Lewick in 9th. Rich Foligno will have Carl Dronke to his inside on row number 4, 7th and 8th respectively. David Paxa will start in 6th position. Andrew Bedrosian will round out the top 5 after that. Going to move up a little bit. And John Guerra will be on the outside of row number 2 with Logan Pax, the series points leader, to his inside. And on the pole, it is Tim Salvatore leading Michael Krobach to his inside to the green. Tim gets his first pole of his first pole of the season. And Michael Krobach, who is one of 2 drivers, the other being Carl Dronke, to say they have won an oval race this season. So lots of talent there up front, lots of speed in some of these cars in that qualifying session. Certainly impressive to see the guys that broke into the 20.8s. That does require some patience and does require some knowledge of the basics of oval racing, because certainly not easy to get a slipstream that quick all the way around an entire lap. So certainly a couple guys to watch out for will qualify there at the front. But as always with ovals, well, qualifying doesn't always tell the whole story. So we'll see if maybe some guys were just quicker in qualifying and flat out speed than they are on track when we get going to the real thing. So there on the top left, you see 175 laps in tonight's race. We got the timer, but we can turn the timer off. There we go. So 175 laps in tonight's race. Just going to wait for that to come back. We do have 2 warm-up laps here. It is such a short oval that to give people time to all get stacked up, doubled up, and ready to go there in the single or the double file setup, we have 2 warm-up laps. So we'll go around in just a moment. But quickly, before we do that, I just want to go through the field and show you your lineup for tonight's race. So there is Tim Salvatore running the maroon number 91 Race Sim Canada car. Michael Krobach to his outside in the 72 Alpha Tauri entry. Logan Paxa in the blue Turl number 16 entry. Some guys have got shuffled around. John Guerra in the number 8 Dableek Motorsports car, the car with the white nose. The other one, Manuel Guerra's car, which looks very similar in the number 12, has a black nose. So he will start in 4th. Andrew Bedrosian second in the points, sitting there in, as he always calls it, Eleanor, the car he has named there. So based off the Ferrari Scuderia entry. After that, David Paxa, a very unique car of his own in the gray number 53 car. Carl Dronke in the 38 orange vehicle there, starting in 7th. Rich Foligno will make his first race in the Canadian Tire Labatt blue entry there, with the Canadian flag up on the nose cone, sitting in 8th. Justin Lewick after that in 9th in the Dams F2 entry, the number 7 car. Caleb Campbell in the always popular Oreo number 11 car. Tanner Digner there in the Pennzoil Menards 55 car. Max Preston in the Hooters number 6 entry. Manuel Guerra in the other Dableek Motorsports car, as I mentioned, with the black nose and the number 12. Marshall Crocker, I still don't know what livery this is, but he's got the blue French number 15 entry. And Jack Hillier in the Haas F1 number 18. We are ready to go. The green flag has come out here at Iowa Speedway, so the action has begun. Tim Salvatore leads the field to green right off the start, and great jump there for the number 91 car right at the beginning. Tim always very quick here on these starts, if I remember correctly. Last week kind of struggled there at Oulton Park, but he's got his pace back tonight. Logan Paxa already jumps to second, has jumped Michael Krobach immediately off the start. So is Andrew Bedrosian, you see there on the right side of your screen. That number 5 red car is making it work there. He's already flown up to 3rd there from 5th, so some gains there on the very first lap from Andrew Bedrosian. Carl Dronke's also moved up 2 spots. Justin Lewick's moved up now 4. Has gone from 9th to 5th, going to go side by side with Carl in the second lap of the race, the first full lap. So the action heating up right at the very beginning. The guy's already starting to separate out a little bit. Andrew Bedrosian has made the move on Logan Paxa, so that was a very quick start to the race, but the yellow flag will come out. Manuel Guerra, the first casualty in tonight's race. It appears he is off the pace. We'll have to see what happened to the number 15 car. There is Manuel Guerra. You see that entire front left wheel assembly has buckled on him, so let's go back and find out what happened to him and what brought out our first caution of the night. So something presumably on the apron there, as you see he's come off through the grass on the right side of the track. He was already kind of off center as he came through corner number 4, so he was decently far in the field. Just washed up, I guess, on cold tires, bounced into the wall, made contact with somebody. Was that No, that wasn't Marshall Crocker. Was that Rich Foligno he got into? I really hope not, because Rich has had a lot of tough luck this season, but he's been really quick all week in practice. Oh, it was. Man, that guy just seems to have the worst luck in things, and it looks like he got away relatively unscathed. He does have quick repairs to repair that number 99 car, and he's heading to the pits, presumably to use them as we speak. Marshall Crocker also pitting currently, presumably to take new tires. I don't think he would have taken damage in that incident, but whatever it may be, he will come into the pits. And Manuel Guerra, obviously, still missing that entire front left wheel, but has made it back to the pits. He will pit from 13th, and it will get out first, actually, despite being the car mainly involved in the crash. That'll move Jack Hillier up 3 spots into 12th. Back to the front, though, Tim Salvatore got a great jump there on that last restart, so he was able to comfortably maintain his lead that he had after taking the pole in qualifying. Let's just put up the positions gained there on that very first quick stint there at the start of tonight's race. So Andrew Bedrosian moving up 3 spots. He started very fittingly in the 5th position in the number 5 car, but has since moved up to 2nd, so he'll start right behind your current race leader, Mr. Tim Salvatore, on the next restart. Logan Paxa gained a spot past Michael Krobach in the very first corner, but then lost a spot later on in the lap to Andrew Bedrosian, so he will restart 3rd. Michael Krobach, the Oval Master himself, has lost 2 spots on the very first segment of the race, but I know Michael is a bit of an Oval Master, as we call him himself, and I know he knows Iowa well, so maybe just planning for the long term, decided to lose a couple spots in favor of long-term strategy. Carl Dronke will move up 2 spots. He is now in 5th. Justin Lewick moving up 3 spots to 6th. Caleb Campbell up 3 spots as well from 10th to 7th. Tanner Dignard up 3 spots from 11th to 8th. Max Preston up 3 spots from 12th to 9th. John Guerra down 6 spots, actually. I'm not sure what would have happened to him. I didn't see him get in anything, but I know he was passed by both Andrew Bedrosian, Logan Paxa, and... no, just the 2 of them. I think he qualified maybe 4th or 5th? Or no, 4th. So he got passed by a couple cars, but has since stabilized, and the car looks okay. So hopefully on this next restart, he'll be right back up to speed. Past that, though, there's Mr. Jack Hillier there, who now sits in 11th after a couple of cars came into the pits. Marshall Crocker Sr. after that in 12th. Rich Foligno after that in 13th. David Paxa, who has moved down 8 spots from 14th. Not sure what happened to the number 53 car, but he is going to have a slight bit of recovery to do, and Manuel Guerra has returned to the track. I believe the only car sitting a lap down, and that is correct. So Manuel Guerra, the only car a lap down, but we do have the lucky dog rule on, so he may use that if need be to get back on the lead lap. We'll see if that comes into effect with how far we are on the pace car laps. So lights on the pace car are off, so very short cautions here at Iowa Speedway, which is good to see. You always want them to go quick. That way we can get right back to the green flag racing action, which we will momentarily. So Tim Salvatore will lead Andrew Bedrosian and Logan Paxa to green. He's one of those cars really all season that I think he had his best races so far this year at the very beginning of the season. Had some really good performances, had quite a few podiums, and tied for the most top 5s in the series. So he's had pace all year. It's just lately, something about it. He hasn't quite had the success I'm sure he would have liked. Hasn't been on the podium in a couple weeks. So this would be a great return to form for the number 91 driver if he was able to do so. He's going to lead the field to green this time as the pace car comes in and going to go immediately off the pace car. Doesn't really wait for the green flag, but doesn't need to. Green flag for the rest of the field. The first restart of tonight's race. The 91 takes the field to the first corner. It's another pretty good jump, but Andrew's going to have a really good slipstream here down the back once he can get up to pace. I saw that Max Preston in the background says he's crashed, but doesn't look like he is off the pace or anything, so he will return and we will continue to stay under green. We'll put the track map up just in just a moment, but we want to watch this battle for the lead first. John Guerra gets a spot in the back of the field. Jack Hillier as well. Caleb Campbell appears to have lost a couple spots since we went green in this current segment. Now loses another one to Rich Foligno and Marshall Crocker. We're going to have to see what's going on with Caleb in just a moment, but side by side for the lead here between, that is Bedrosian on the outside in the bright red car and the maroon car of Tim Salvatore, current leader on the inside. Tim's going to defend the inside, and looks like his tires are now warmed up enough that he can defend the bottom, isn't going to slide up in the corner, but Andrew Bedrosian solidly to the outside of that number 91 car, but watch out for the number 16 of Logan Paxa looking underneath. He is not waiting around. Now he's going to get past Andrew Bedrosian for the time being, but Andrew gets that spot back on the top side with the better run off corner 2. Now Andrew's going to go to the bottom. He's going to turn him. The front 2 cars have gone around. Very aggressive move from Andrew Bedrosian. Hooks Tim Salvatore, Michael Krobach involved, Carl Dronke involved. The 72 and 38 both involved. The caution will come out, as many cars involved in that. David Paxa will be the beneficiary of that. He's going to gain a couple spots as a result of that incident. But Logan Paxa gets out unscathed, meaning he is the new race leader. Tim Salvatore stays on track second, but is missing a significant portion of his rear wing. And we got to see that again. That was a big move there from Andrew Bedrosian. Like, it was a great over-under attempt, and I mean, it would have worked. I think Tim's tires, I just talked about that I thought they were warm enough that they'd be okay through the corner, not to slide up, but they're still not perfect, so the opportunity was definitely there. I just think this early in the race may be a little bit aggressive, a really tight margin, and Tim tried to block there at the end, as I probably would have as well. It just didn't turn out well, so we'll watch that maybe from the chopper view. Might give us a better idea of what happens. You see Andrew Bedrosian from the top goes to the bottom when Tim doesn't defend the bottom of the track, but Tim just not expecting him to be there. The two get together, Andrew slides into the outside wall, and as a result, in trying to avoid, you see Karl Dronke and Michael Krobach getting involved in the aftermath. So both guys got back up to speed, got back to the pits, I would assume, but let's just watch that one more time from perhaps Karl Dronke's perspective to see what happened to him. But man, early in the race, we have two incidents involving some big names as well, so we got to hope that's one of the last we're going to see all race. Those are the decisions that you like to think are going to wait until the end of the race. You never want guys to be doing something as big and drastic as that this early, but you see there just doing his very best to avoid. Doesn't actually hit anybody until he hits Michael Krobach, but in an attempt to get the back end around to avoid the crash, he just loses it and on the cold tires and gets it spun around and back up to speed, but certainly would have rather not had to do that at all, I'd imagine, if you're Karl Dronke. So Karl will move down to 11th. We're back under yellow for the second time this race, and Logan Paxa becomes your new race leader, the points leader who started in third at the beginning of tonight's event. Now sits back very fittingly at the top of the field, but again, I talked about it in the pre-race. Logan Paxa, as quick as he's been really everywhere, and again, not that he's been slow here at ovals, but ovals have never been his bread and butter. He's always been a road course guy, maybe, I'd imagine from his background in karting, certainly assists him in that manner, but yeah, in the history of oval races I've put on, he's always been quick, but he's had trouble getting to the top of the podium, so sitting there comfortably in first and was breaking away from the guys behind him in that battle with Andrew and Tim, so nothing to suggest that he won't have the speed on track to be able to hold that spot, but he's got Justin Lulick behind him now, sitting in second. Guy who's moved up 7 spots since the start of the race. He started 9th. Max Preston, who's in third there in the black Hooters number 6 entry, he started 12th. So we got some guys that are making moves here through the field to get to this point. Of course, Justin Lulick and Max Preston know each other very well. They had a great battle at Detroit earlier this season. So two guys that I know have the pace and have the understanding of each other's racing styles to race comfortably together and have some good battles for position. So we'll hope to see one of those momentarily when we go green again. But we are under caution, as I mentioned. We'll see if the lights in the pace car come off this time so we can go green this next lap by. They do not. So we're going to go around 2 more times. Short laps here at Iowa. Even the pace laps are relatively quick. So we will see. Actually, we'll see. I'll put up the last lap by, and that'll tell us what the approximate length of these caution laps are. So a minute. Not crazy bad. Of course, very long. Much longer than we would have otherwise preferred. So there are the positions gained, just to put them up again. Michael Krobach, the farthest dropper there, 11 spots, but that's because he started third and just got involved in that wreck in the aftermath of the Bedrosian-Salvatore incident, so he'll go down to 11th. But ahead in the field, Tanner Dignard also moving up 7 spots into 4th. John Guerra drops down 1 spot from 4th to 5th, but hey, still in the top 5. And Rich Foligno, even after just being clipped by Manuel Guerra in our first caution incident, has moved back up to 6th. And Jack Hillier as well, up to 7th from 15th at the back of the field. So great job to Jack. Way to move up through the grid in tonight's race. But back to Logan Paxa. We'll just pull down the... I already forgot what graphic I put up. Oh, the position scan. There we go. So back up to here. Maybe we'll just throw up the race info for tonight's race. Just isn't always the most helpful, but it gives us a couple details for tonight's event. As I mentioned before, 175 laps in tonight's race in round 10 of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series season. We are in Newton, Iowa, quite fittingly here, at the Iowa Speedway. You see, not quite parallel if you look at the track map. Very close, but just slightly shifted on its x-axis. So a slightly interestingly shaped track. 25 degrees Celsius here, so quite warm. Certainly going to chew through tires more so than other races we're used to in the calendar. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. But partly cloudy conditions, very little wind, and of course we are very late into the night here. I believe in game about 11 p.m. So we will get that down because the pace car is just about to dive onto pit road. Logan Paxa will lead the field to green. His first time of the race, but the 3rd time overall that we have needed to do so because of one full start and 2 restarts. Logan is the control car. He's going to wait later than Tim did. Going to wait really late. Might be waiting for the green flag. The green flag goes, so now he is off. Green flag for the 3rd time tonight at Iowa Speedway for round number 10 of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series season. John Guerra immediately off the back going to dive to the inside of Tanner Dignard in the 55, but Tanner Dignard on the top line is going to have the better run through the corner with the with the cold tires. So Tanner will continue his charge up the field, currently still sitting in 4th. Let's look up the field a little ways. That is Justin Lewis still trying to track down Logan Paxton, but Max Preston right behind him, not giving him any breathing room there. Not giving him any room to work with from behind, so trying to draft on him and make up whatever ground he can. Later back in the field, Caleb Campbell passes Jack Hillier. Tim Salvatore is coming to the pits and is now out of the race, so not sure what the situation is for Tim there. Not sure if it's frustration or has some internet connectivity issues, so we'll see if he comes back, or maybe it's just temporary. But Max Preston gets the move done on Justin Lewis on the inside, so he'll move up to 2nd. The first pass we've seen in the top 3 really all race. They've kind of stayed locked in, and there's sort of a bubble where it's very hard to pass the race leader, in this case Logan Paxton. So we'll put up the track map now. We've had a couple laps under our belt. That way it's a little bit more relevant. You can see everybody's still relatively formed up there on the top right. Nobody's really dropped off the pace. Max Preston's going to get underneath Logan Paxton. I didn't think he was going to give him enough room, so I didn't bother mentioning it, but now that he's got by, great move there by Max. Logan's going to let both of them by. He's going to let Justin Lewis to the inside as well, so Justin can send it into turn 3. Might get 2 for the price of 1. No, not quite yet. He's going to have to wait. Logan, though, still sitting there in 2nd, right in the draft on Max Preston, but Max is going to defend the bottom hard, meaning Justin Lewis is going to go for the over-under. Try to get the better apex entry there from the outside lane, but he's got to watch behind him because Tanner Digner there in the 55 is charging through the pack. Tanner is just taking no prisoners. He is not waiting around. Now he's going to go underneath Justin Lewis. He's going to get up to 3rd. Nice move there by Tanner, but he's got to make sure the back end and the tires stick their way through the corner. They won't, so Justin's going to get the spot back, likely going to dive down to the bottom. No, he will leave the inside open again. Rich Foligno, where did he come from? Guy that almost won both of our practice races this week. In fact, I believe he lost by 0.03 of a second to Logan Paxton yesterday's. So Rich has been quick all week, and he's kind of sitting sandwiched in between Tanner Digner and Justin Lewis right now in the battle for 3rd. So Rich Foligno, I'm going to say it right now. I don't usually do this, but Rich Foligno is my pick to win tonight's race. Maybe that's crazy, maybe I'm wrong, but I think if anybody can do it, he can. Jack Hillier going to come into the pit lane now in the number 18 car, sitting off the pace, so he's going to hop off, presumably for car damage, maybe hit a wall there on cold tires. Tanner Digner, though, comfortably up to 3rd. Rich Foligno comfortably up to 4th, and now Justin Lewis gets sent all the way back to 5th, which is still very good, but he's got to watch his inside, or else John Guerra is going to put him 6th. Justin really trying to stick to that top line, certainly not burning his tires out as much as the rest of the guys are, but I don't know how well that's going to work for long periods of time because, well, the further guys get ahead of you, and as long as their tires are up to temp, they really don't have to worry about you getting back past them because it's very tough to make a pass on somebody on the inside, certainly not impossible. But if I'm Justin Lewis, I would definitely be thinking about jumping to the bottom of the track right about now. Decides not to, though, for the time being. Let's look back a little ways further past this initial battle for the top 6. That is Andrew Bedrosian leading this next field. Jack Hillier is going to hop back onto the track off of turn 3. Justin Lewis looks like he's passed Rich Foligno further ahead in the pack, but this is the side-by-side battle between Bedrosian and Dronke for 7th. Effectively, Foligno gets Lewis back by, so I assume they're sideways, or side-by-side, I should say, coming through turn number 2. Now David Pax is going to go side-by-side with Carl Dronke, so Andrew will get the position. David's got the slipstream, so he will move up into the 9th, or the 8th spot, I should say. Carl Dronke's still in 9th, unless Caleb Campbell has something to say about it. But we got to go back up to this battle at the front. We have seen all sorts of movement here from these cars sitting midfield. Logan Paxa is still sitting behind Max Preston for the time being. Looks like Preston has kept that spot since he made the move on the inside into turn number 1. Still holding that spot, but Logan is just sitting right behind him, maybe trying to conserve fuel, maybe just more comfortable with waiting around. But Tanner Digner, Rich Foligno still in 3rd and 4th. Max just very briefly blips there on the internet connectivity side of things, and whatever we see when guys have little blips like that, they see on track, the other drivers that being. So you always want to be careful if a driver who's blinking in front of you on track maybe changes the way you drive and maybe just gets in your head a little bit. So we'll see if that affects the way guys decide to follow in behind him. Justin Lewis, though, still running a little bit higher than the rest of the field. That is not like insanely high up on the track, certainly not a dangerous level, but it's very interesting to see that he is trying to make that top line work for passes as he keeps seeing guys below him just dive into the bottom, sitting in the line, and they're not gaining spots, but they're certainly getting a spot on him. So Justin Lewis will keep an eye on him. I know he's a smart driver, and I assume whatever plan he's thinking up right now is certainly one with merit, but wow, it's not working right now. Now Andrew Bedrosian's to the inside of him through turn number 1, so Andrew will move into the top 5. Justin's going to get cycled out to 6th, and again, John Guerra sat there on the inside to his inside for quite a while, and John Guerra might be the next guy to get past him and move up to 6th. He will, so they're going to go side by side, but everybody's staying fairly clean now. Still a single file racing to this point, so we're getting a good long green flag stint to this point, which is what I like to see as a race director. The fewer cautions, the better, as is always kind of the rule in races like these. little ways back in the field, though, still side by side between David Paxa and Carl Dronke. It's kind of been that way for quite a while now. They haven't really shifted at all in terms of track position between the two of them. They've just kind of sat to the inside and outside of each other, which is going to work. You don't really burn through tires that quick here at Iowa, so they can basically run whatever lane they want to for quite a while before it'll start to become noticeable in terms of their on-track pace and their ability to stay off of the outside wall. A little bit further up in the field, though, Andrew Bedrosian's found a move not only past Rich Foligno for 4th, but is now going to get Tanner Dignard on the outside for 3rd. Tanner will have the preferred line there into turn number 1, but Andrew's got the slight track position advantage. He's going to stick it to the outside and continues to drive around the outside of Tanner Dignard. Now going to drop down just a little bit. Gets in the line, so Andrew Bedrosian now sits back up in the top 3 after that incident earlier with Tim Salvatore. Andrew getting the better of that incident because Tim Salvatore has dropped out of the race and presumably will not return. Again, this could have been a big race for Tim, and he will get pole points, but yeah, that'll have to be investigated post-race. That was quite the interesting incident that did lead to that at all. Besides that, though, this battle continues between Logan Paxton and Andrew Bedrosian, top 2 in the championship. I don't know how Andrew is finding this speed on the outside. I guess just putting it closer to the outside of these cars through the corners than anybody else is. Being a little bit more brave, as Andrew always does seem to be, sometimes to his benefit, sometimes to his deficit. But right now, it may be what he needs to move up to 2nd. If he can stay side by side with Logan through turn number 2, he'll get the better run onto the backstretch. Let's see who Max is going to try to defend. He's going to stay to the low line, which is working for him. But if Andrew has this pace on the top, you might have to watch out, or else that number 5 car could be steam training by the number 6 car in just a moment. A little ways further back, that's Justin Luke there you see in the back of your screen trying to defend from Carl Dronke. We go 3 wide into turn number 1 with Rich on the bottom, Justin in the middle, and Carl on the top. So there is Justin Luke in the number 7 entry, that teal and dark blue car there. He goes again up the middle of Rich Foligno and Carl Dronke, still ahead of Carl for the time being, just to the outside of Rich. And ahead, Andrew still on the top side of the front 2 of Max Preston and Logan Paxa. Great battle we're seeing between these 3 here. Really, the top spot doesn't become super valuable till later in the race, but Andrew wants it bad. The number 5 car clears the number 6 car momentarily. As we come through turn number 3, Max will have the preferred line, so you got to think that he's going to get the better of this battle until Andrew can find a different way to get by. But Andrew's still trying to make it work. He's going to go real wide there through the corner, just didn't quite get the apex right that time, and it is going to cost him. Logan's going to get right back in front, and Andrew will slot into 3rd, so it was a noble attempt. I was a really big fan of what he was going for there while it was working, but you really got to make sure you nail your apexes there. He's going to go right back to the outside. Doesn't really take that incident as a fault to his strategy, so he's going to go right back to the top line. It happened to Justin as well. Sometimes you just don't quite catch the apex the way you need to, and it shuffles you out of the order. That'll mean that Tanner will get all the way past Justin in this battle right behind Justin with John Guerra and Rich Foligno. It's going to get even closer, so great racing here we're seeing at Iowa, but Max Preston's still your race leader. Always good in these races when seeing 2 guys go side by side in a battle for a top 3 position becomes the norm. That is what we like to see. And almost lap number 40 here of tonight's race. We are just past the 1/5 of the race mark, so things are going by fairly quickly here tonight. It, again, may look like a long race, but I assure you with 22-second laps, it will not be a very long event. And Max Preston there still in front of Logan Paxton. Justin's going to wash out again. I'm not sure if maybe he's just losing the tires. Maybe he was doing something particularly costly. He certainly hasn't been quite as linear in his racing line as a couple other guys have, so maybe he's burning more tread off the tires. But whatever it may be, he's hopped up there to the top line a couple times, and it is not helping his pace. He's going to get shuffled back behind John Guerra and Rich Foligno. Now moving him back into 7th, but Max Preston still comfortably sitting up there in the top spot. Let's maybe go to a different view on his car. This is at the back of the number 6 of Max Preston, just to get a better idea of how close Logan Paxton, the 16, gets behind him coming through each corner. This is the exit to corner number 4, back up onto the trioval. Logan Paxton trying to get nice and close, but doesn't quite have the slipstream. He needs to make the pass, and the caution comes out. That is John Guerra, Justin Lewick involved. Looks like the only 2 on track to worry about, but a good green flag stint there for quite a while, but the first caution we've seen in a few minutes. This is John Guerra that we see on track right now. Let's see what happened there between himself and Justin Lewick. Looks like Caleb Campbell was also involved in the number 11 car sitting right behind. So this is John Guerra here. Justin just rides a little bit high through the corner, taps him on the inside there, coming through corners 3 and 4. Caleb Campbell in the aftermath is going to get involved as well. We'll go to a chopper camera, always a little bit more convenient view to see what goes on. So here is the view from these 2 gentlemen. This is, again, coming through corners 3 and 4. So Justin, we saw him washing wide through corners 1 and 2 a couple times. Looks like it finally happened in turn 3, and not the time you want to do it with the car to your outside. So they are going to get together John actually jumps over the number 7 car of Justin Lewick during the wreck. So they will go around there, and that will require a quick repair on John Guerra's behalf. You see that he is now in the pit lane. But Logan Paxa is still your current race leader. We'll have to go over the updated positions once we see guys coming out of the pits, but we do. Andrew Bedrosian has already entered pit road. We will wait for the exit off of pit road. That's the wrong end. So here is pit lane. Let's keep an eye on who comes out first. So Max Preston, I believe, has just made the pass on somebody. Max Preston's the first car to pit road. Andrew Bedrosian will be second in the race off pit road. Then Tanner Dignard, Rich Foligno, and Caleb Campbell after that. Michael Krobach now exiting. He had the second pit stall as a result of finishing second, so he'll come out next. And Carl Dronke, the last car in the race off pit road. Well, that being said, Logan Paxa will remain your race leader, but his father, David Paxa, will now sit in second. It'll be a Paxa top 2 coming to the next restart, and we'll be right back to catch that action in just a moment. Can't wait to see what the two Paxas do in this next restart. Maybe they'll race each other differently as father and son. I know I certainly don't like to think about it whenever I race my dad. Don't think about the extra pressure, but it is certainly there. They got something to prove, and I can't wait to see what the 16 and the 53 car get up to on this next restart. We're going to go to a very brief side-by-side break, though, and we will be right back in just a moment for round number 10 of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series season here at Iowa Speedway. And we are back after a very brief break here for round number 10 of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series season at Iowa Speedway. Just waiting on the third caution and in turn the third restart of our race to go green. As I just mentioned, that is Logan Paxa with David Paxa right behind the top 2. So an all Paxa, well, you could say front row on this next restart. Logan Paxa, this first time restarting a race from the green flag position. We do go green as we speak, so Logan Paxa will lead the field for the 4th time in tonight's race, leading his father David Paxa down to turn number 1. Great jump for the top 2, so the Paxa's taken off there into turn number 1, but Manuel Guerra will now sit in 3rd position here on the restart. Max Preston and Andrew Bedrosian the battle for 4th position after that, and then in turn it is Dignard, Foligno, Campbell, Krobach, Dronke rounding out your top 10. Jack Hillier sits 2 laps down. John Guerra is out of the race. Logan Paxa and David Paxa at the front of the field. We'll go to that battle in just a moment, but we're keeping an eye here on this battle between Manuel Guerra and Andrew Bedrosian. Max Preston made the pass there on the last lap by, so Max moves back into the top 3. Going to go 3 wide here down the backstretch. Tanner Dignard, what a move by him. He's cleared Andrew, And if he stays to the inside, he may also clear Manuel. So Tanner Dignard is making some great moves in tonight's race. Look at the dive to the top to defend Andrew, but that'll give Andrew the inside lane into the next corner. So Tanner, a great move there for a moment, but now he's given the position back to Andrew for the time being. Manuel Guerra will stay fourth. Got to go back up to the battle for the lead, though. That's the two Paxas. That is David and Logan Paxa. I haven't really gotten a good Paxa versus Paxa battle all season, so this is the one you want to watch. Now 50 laps into tonight's race, coming up towards the 1/3 mark of tonight's event. Logan's still pretty well clear of his dad. David's still trying to stay on the slipstream, make sure that he doesn't get in the dirty air through the corners. You do wash up a little bit more sitting in the slipstream on another car, not just because you're faster, but because the dirty air gets in your way. Now David's going to go to the bottom. He's maybe showing his son the ropes, got a good enough run. He's going to send it to the bottom. David Pax in the 53 car goes to the front, makes the move on Logan. Logan will still have the slipstream, though, down the backstretch. Can he make a recovery move, try to put himself back in the top spot? Sitting there very close behind Andrew Bedrosian, a little ways back in the field, makes the pass for fourth. He'll get Manuel Guerra, now going to try to track down Max Preston and put himself back in the top three, but Manuel is not done. Still to the bottom. He's got the line into turn number one, so he'll wash up in front of Andrew, but Andrew does the over-under. Great move there by the number 5 car. Andrew puts himself back at the front of the field. Well, not the front of the field, but back to fourth. Michael Krobach and Rich Foligno going to go 3 wide underneath Manuel. They're still side by side as we come through corner number 4. Rich Foligno to the inside, Michael Krobach to the outside. Michael trying to recover after that last incident that brought out our second caution in the aftermath of the Bedrosian Salvatore incident, so he's trying to recover. Carl Dronke as well recovering from that incident, also in 7th, but Rich Foligno back into the top 5. Nearly an incident there between Carl Dronke and Michael Krobach as Dronke battles to the outside of Manuel Guerra. Tanner Dignard has dropped back to 9th after his initial move up through the field, so he will have to try to find a way to recover from there, but we saw his pace earlier and the moves he was willing to make. I'd imagine it will be sooner rather than later that he gets back up. Max Preston, since I moved back a little ways in the field, Max Preston has lost a couple spots, now down to 5th, letting Andrew and Rich by. The front of the field side by side is this battle between Logan and David. Logan makes the move back. Too many things to cover in such a short period of time, so Logan Paxa becomes your race leader once again. Him and his dad maybe tactically swapping spots here, trying to get the draft back and forth going to try to run away from this pack behind. The two Paxes maybe teaming up, trying to take this race by storm. They will, so David will get the spot back coming into turn number 1, and this looks mighty intentional if you ask me. Great strategy choice if that is what they're doing. Side by side there for 4th is Max Preston and Rich Foligno. Rich in the blue number 99 car to the bottom of the number 6 black car of Max Preston. Rich will now settle into the slipstream behind Andrew Bedrosian in 3rd in the Ferrari entry. Carl Dronke might split the middle here, decides to go to the bottom on Rich Foligno instead. So the 38 car will wait for the time being. Still on the bottom there, though. Sitting in a comfortable spot. Almost gets checked up into by Manuel Guerra, but they managed to avoid it. So good to see. We've had some good green flag stints going here since we recovered from that last green flag stop, or the last yellow stop, I should say. A little ways further back in the field, Marshall Crocker and Jack Hillier teaming up in the draft. A little ways back, Marshall is on the lead lap. Jack is not. Side by side here, Rich Foligno and Max Preston once again. Rich is going to get the better run through the corner, though. Now Carl Dronke is going to drop to the bottom. Of course, your winner in our last oval this season at Indianapolis. We know he has the pace here turning left, and he's now done so against Max Preston. Manuel Guerra and Max Preston going to go side by side there, almost getting into each other. Max goes directly to defend the bottom. That may open the door for Tanner Dignard there in the back of your screen. Tanner Dignard, we saw some big moves there earlier. He's going to wash out to the outside, giving Caleb Campbell the run. Same with Michael Krobach. So whenever we see guys sliding to the outside as a result of both dirty air and the slipstream, they tend to lose a bunch of spots immediately after, and that is a trend they are going to need to break going forward if these guys that are giving up ground through the outside lane are going to have to fix. Justin Lillick was doing it earlier as well, and now Justin and Tanner at the back of the field, so they really got to make sure that they push for that low line more often and make sure that they're a little bit closer on their apex. That way they can stay comfortably in position. David Paxa and Logan Paxa, they are pulling away from the field. Their switching back and forth tactic is working. Now 2.5 seconds clear of Andrew Bedrosian in 3rd, so what they are doing is working, and it's admirable to see. I knew there was a possibility that if a tandem of 2 could form up and have really good coordination, they could make it work and maybe pull away from the rest of the field. I didn't think it would be this early, though, so David and Logan are having a great time. If this thing stays green for a while, it may pay off in droves for them. Rich Foligno, though, now going to look to the bottom on Andrew Bedrosian. Rich Foligno will make the move, going to clear him into turn number 1. Andrew is going to need some pace, though, onto the backstretch if he wants to make that move back. He's still in the slipstream on Rich, but Rich is presumably going to defend the inside. He does, so Andrew will not be able to make the move for the time being. Rich Foligno back into the top 3. So now David Paxa, Logan Paxa, Rich Foligno, your top three. Right as the caution comes out between Tanner Dignard and Manuel Guerra. Let's see what happens there between those two gentlemen. Tanner Dignard now missing a front wing. Manuel Guerra with an incident so severe that he had to teleport back to pit road. Wasn't able to bring it back to the pits. So let's see what happened between the two yellow cars. That is the 55 of Dignard and the 12 of Guerra. This is coming off of turn number 2. That'll be one that will require the chopper camera. Not quite sure based on where they were sitting on the lane, where they would have got into each other. So we'll go to a chopper camera. We'll see that one more time just to get a better idea of what happened. But again, such tight margins here at any oval, but especially with the short ovals here like Iowa. You know, it's so tough not only to find the space to put your car in reference to another person, but to try to predict what the other person's going to do. And that looked like netcode. You saw on our screen the two cars didn't even touch. So that was an awkward wreck. Manuel has kept sliding there after that initial crash, and Tanner got back up to speed quickly. He's just going to head to pit road and repair that damage, presumably under a closed pit lane, meaning he'll have an end-of-the-line penalty, but you don't really care as long as you can get your damage fixed. Still hasn't pitted yet to this point, so maybe opted to not take the penalty. Now he'll head into the pits, as well as a couple other drivers on my screen, that only being Justin Lewick. So Justin Lewick and Tanner Dignard now in the pits. Marshall Crocker will move up to 9th as a result. And Jack Hillier, if he pits, will stay where he is. He'll get a lap back because of the lucky dog. So Jack Hillier will be put only a single lap down if he is able to serve that, the lucky dog, that being. So back to the front of the field, though. Well, that was not what you want to see if you're a Paxa fan or one of the Paxas themselves. Yeah, Jack Hillier does get the lucky dog pass, so he'll head around the outside of the pace car. But yes, if you are a Paxa fan, that is the last thing you wanted to see. They looked comfortable up there up front. They were flying there. They had the pace for days. They had the pace in waves. So, well, they were quick there for a while, but unfortunately just, cautions are going to happen here at these races, and those strategies are going to work. If they can do it again and they can agree upon it at the very beginning, and Rich Foligno doesn't immediately go for the spot, might be what they need to get either David his first win of the season or Logan his 6th. Maybe David fakes a pit road entry, but decides not to. Guys do that all the time here at ovals, and sometimes in just regular iRacing races. It's a little annoying, but something guys do, and usually guys I find historically will not really pit based on what other people are doing this early in the race. They'll just pit off their own strategy, and at the very end, maybe able to copy what the leader's doing or intentionally not do what the leader does. So whatever the case may be, David is still your race leader with Logan Paxa in 2nd, and Rich Foligno now rounding out your top 3. Just for a moment, while the pace car does pace around a couple more laps, we are on lap 65 of the race, coming up to the halfway point in tonight's round 10. We are just going to go on board with David Paxa, your pole sitter, for just a moment, and then I am going to check the YouTube chat because I haven't actually had the chance to pull it up yet. So I'll pull it up and be back in just a moment. And we're ready to go. The pace car is just about to head on to pit road as we come through turn 3. David Paxa, again, I just checking the chat, seeing that there's some strong strategy going on between the two Paxas, the advantages of being quarantined in the same house together. So they are presumably going to coordinate this restart, but David Paxa will lead the field to green. Waiting on the loud pedal green flag for the 5th time in tonight's race at Iowa Speedway for the 10th round of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series season. We are off and running, and David Paxa is still sitting at the front of the field. Logan Paxa will get back in the draft, and they are full 6/10 clear of Rich Foligno coming out of turn number 2. The two Paxas are teaming up and making it work. This is the battle for 3rd. Andrew's going to peek to the inside on Rich Foligno, but Rich's tires are going to work better through the corner as they are cold, and hence will have an easier time washing out. But Andrew actually did manage to make the corner. Must have been doing some strong weaving there on the caution laps to keep those things nice and warm up to temp, I should say, and grippy. So he makes his way through the corner successfully, meaning he'll move up to 3rd. Rich Foligno will get shuffled back out to 4th. Carl Dronke's still there in 5th, rounding at the top 5. Max Preston trying to chase them down after that. Then it's a bit of a gap back to Caleb Campbell in the 7th position. The battle still rages on between Andrew and Rich. I'll try to wait off and showing the battle up there between the two Paxas until these guys catch up, because, well, we can imagine that similar to wrestling, the top 2 battle between the two Paxas is more so fixed than anything. I'm a wrestling fan, so I'll say fixed, not fake, but it does certainly give me vibes of that. But Rich Foligno still trying to stay in the draft on Andrew Bedrosian, but Andrew might have bigger plans. He's going to peek to the inside on Logan Paxa. He has said, enough of this little game you guys are playing. I want 2nd position for myself. He's going to head under Logan Paxa, so there go the honeymoon laps for the two Paxas there when they were teaming up and switching spots back and forth. Andrew Bedrosian, as he often does, has upset this balance, has put himself in 2nd, and Rich Foligno is going with him, moves up into 3rd. Carl Dronke would go with him and go to 4th. So this got very competitive very quickly, and, well, Andrew Bedrosian and David Paxa. Andrew is an absolute wrecking ball in this series, and I don't mean that in terms of, causing wrecks. I mean that he's just always a very powerful force, sometimes in destructive ways, but sometimes in just purely terrifying racing ways, and he makes some great moves from time to time. Going to peek to the bottom on David. David defends the inside hard off of turn number 2. Rich Foligno, though, keep an eye out. He is going with David Paxa. He's going to go to the inside on Andrew. He is not waiting around for Andrew to make this move. Rich Foligno, who again has been quick all week, has yet to score a podium this season despite overwhelming pace, overwhelming practice. He is done. He goes up to 2nd. He wants the win tonight. I called that earlier in the race that I think Rich is my favorite to win this tonight's race, and, well, he's certainly showed the ability to all week. He'll move up to 2nd, says Andrew Bedrosian. You can have 3rd. I am going to the front now. He'll try to defend hard on Andrew, but Andrew might get the spot. He's going to go down again. Swapping back and forth are the 2nd and 3rd place drivers of Foligno and Bedrosian. They are not content with where they are sitting. They're going to do whatever they need to stay in the top 3. Rich Foligno, though, maybe peeking underneath to get David Paxa, but instead holds up and is going to wait for the time being. Preston and Campbell trading spots back and forth momentarily, but it was just Preston blinking in and out, it would seem. But David defending, even with a tire below the yellow line, he's defending the inside as hard as he possibly can. As is the right thing to do. I mean, at this point, all you can do is really defend that bottom line and hope that nobody gets creative and finds a way to go over the top. If a lane forms up and somebody can really get a slipstream up there to the top, maybe they can make something work, but certainly easier said than done to make a pass around somebody defending the bottom. Justin Lewick has left the event 4 laps down at this point, so may have just left. Not sure what the reasoning for that would be, whether intentional or through tech problems, but I don't think he would have burned through quick repairs. Enough 4 drivers out of tonight's race, including your pole sitter Tim Salvatore. That kind of pole curse continues in this series. Often the pole sitter does have unfortunate luck like that. But Andrew Bedrosian, last week's winner, he, I think, broke the pole curse. He did sit on pole last week and went on to win his first race of the season, so now that he's got the monkey off his back, maybe that's the momentum shift that he needs to get another win in tonight's event. He's certainly been competitive all race, sitting there in 3rd. Jack Hillier will head to the pits as we speak in the number 18 entry. Michael Krobach a little ways further in the back. We'll show him momentarily. Whoa, Jack kind of gets up there on the line, but manages to avoid the pack. Michael Krobach, though, a little ways back in the pack. He is kind of entirely out of that front draft. He's having a battle here with Tanner Dignard for 8th, but really isn't competing for those top spots. He's got to find a way to draft and work together with Tanner if he wants to make his way up to the front of the groove and get back into the slipstream here. But look at this battle for, well, really every spot. I mean, Rich Foligno is still battling David for 1st, but Carl Dronke now in the 38 car will peek to the inside of Andrew Bedrosian. Your last oval winner in this series. Hasn't won a race since then, and it's his only of the year, but Carl Dronke, at the ovals, he's got talent. He was in that same series I mentioned John Garrett was in before with my casual oval series. So, he's got oval practice, and certainly practice running night races. We ran him in that series all the time. So he is going to do whatever he can to make up ground with these guys in front. Still sitting in fourth for the time being, though. He's going to have to slide in ahead of Logan Paxa. That makes up your top 5. And then Caleb Campbell side by side with Max Preston for 6th after that. So these two have caught up. Max Preston was out of the draft for a moment before we got the line that we now see ahead of us for the top 5. Side by side go Caleb and Max. He's going to get to the bottom and he's going to have the better run. Max is going to wash up. So Caleb Campbell back into 6th, and now we've got a straight line of cars sitting on the inside line. Turned into a bit of a parade here at Iowa Speedway, but honestly, guys should be thinking long term, and there's no safer way to drive around a track than everybody sitting in one big row like this. So it's going to work for now. Later in the race, of course, you're going to see guys getting crazy, trying all manner of things to win tonight's event, but for the time being, this will certainly help guys' chances of making it to the end, not needing to use those quick repairs that they only have 2 of. Some guys who have burned through a couple already. Going to cross the line this time for lap number 84, getting close to the halfway point. Again, 175 laps seems like a long time, and with cautions, they certainly are. We had plenty of cautions on our 2 practice races this week, but good to see that we've kind of laid off them tonight, and they've all been relatively quick. And now, if we're just going to stick with this for a while, I don't mean to jinx it, but we should go relatively caution-free for a little while. But Andrew Bedrosian keeps peeking out of line. I keep saying that, I think they're going to be chill. I don't think anybody really wants a spot quite yet. But every time Rich moves up the track to take a better angle into each corner, you see Andrew peek underneath and think about making the move. He's doing it again. He's still looking, but I get worried when guys get so close behind each other in spots like that. You can see Rich is losing the gap to David because he's so worried about Andrew behind him. He's missing his apex, and in turn, David can just focus on what's ahead of him and just drive away. There's really nothing to worry about. Of course, Slipstream a little bit too powerful to let David just take off. But it certainly makes it easy on him if Andrew's going to keep pressuring Rich this much. Of course, Rich wants to stay in second, I'd imagine. I mean, there's no better spot to be when the leader is just so dominant at defending his top spot than in second, the guy right behind him. Whoa, Carl Drunky's going to pull out a line very quickly there, but gets back in line to make sure that he doesn't lose a position to Logan Paxa in behind. Let's get a little bit of a closer shot here. So this is Carl Drunky in the 38 car, maybe pressuring to the outside of Andrew Bedrosian as we come down the backstretch. Looks like he will, so we are now at the halfway point in tonight's race. The 38 car still pressuring hard on the back of the number 5 car of Andrew Bedrosian. He wants by as quick as is humanly possible. Now he's going to go to the bottom. Maybe thought he was going to dip underneath there, but as a result, he's going to lose the proper line there into turn number 1 and 2. Going to wash up a little bit and lose some time. Andrew's getting close to the back of that number 99 car. We're going to go to the nose cam to show just how close Andrew Bedrosian is getting to the back of that number 99 car. Like, look at Rich Foligno right in front. There is not a lot of room for error there, and certainly if you're going to read, look at how close he gets. Like, that was almost inside of the car. Oh my goodness, they are on this screen. They're making contact. I really hope that camera isn't an accurate depiction of how close they are, because I thought we were going to see a crash in the nose cam, and boy, that would look intense. Whoa, 3 wide out of corner number 4. Everybody checking up there to make their way through the corner, meaning that everybody kind of fans out and shoots up to the top there. So Carl Drunky almost lost the spot to Max Preston, but Max wasn't able to make the move. Max has actually cleared Logan Paxa as well, so he's in the top 5. Andrew is going underneath. Rich gets a little bit too high up the track to defend Carl, and as a result, the number 5 car will dive underneath. But David Paxa, I talked about it, if these guys get too focused with each other, David Paxa is going to take off again. And I mean, without his compatriot Logan Paxa there to help him do the 1-2 switching spots draft tandem, he won't be able to pull away very much because these guys can do the same thing, and that big pack will push right back up towards David Paxa. But man, they got to watch out, or else David's just going to pull away, and nobody will have anything to say about it. Rich has got back into second, though. Made the move there on Andrew through turns number 3 and 4. Andrew's going to go to the over-under once again. Gets Rich, and Max has also got Carl in the background. So many things to talk about. So many battles on track to focus on. But side by side again into turn number 3 between Foligno and Bedrosian. Preston's right behind. He's not giving them an inch. He's going to sit here right behind and wait for somebody to make a mistake. Now going to go behind Andrew Bedrosian. Carl's going to side with Rich Foligno. So 2 tandems of 2 as we come down into turn number 1. Again, nobody quite able to take the advantage here. Still going to go side by side. Rich was further ahead there down the backstretch, but of course Andrew in the more ideal inside line through turns number 3 and 4. Whoa, Rich almost went to dive in behind, but the margins were just barely different, and Max Preston will take this opportunity. He's going to go to the inside. He'll clear Rich Foligno through the corner. Now Carl Drunky might as well. Rich is going to have to give up the inside lane to the 38 car. Manages to get back down to block. Andrew Bedrosian trying to take the highest line he possibly can into the corner, make sure he doesn't burn his tires up too much. because he's got to defend from the number 6 of Max Preston as well. But David Paxa having a very swell time. He's just chilling up there. He doesn't have to worry about any of this. He's just got to hold the lead. Maybe get the bonus points for most laps led. Of course, he has led probably about 60 laps to this point in the race with a 175 lap race. If somebody like Andrew or Max, who hasn't led any laps, were to take over the lead here, they might run out of time to get that bonus. So David Paxa hunting for every single point he possibly can. This is on the back of the number 63 car, and Andrew, now that he's the guy in charge in that next portion of the line, sitting there in second, he's now leading the charge up back towards David Paxa. He's taken that gap from 6.5 tenths all the way back to about 3.5, so maybe he is the much better leader to coordinate these guys behind. And now that everybody's kind of got back into a single file line, I think these guys know, well, the best plan of action right now is just to wait, make sure you can catch up to David Paxa and not let him run away too much. And it looks like guys are starting to plan for the longer term, possibility of green flag laps. Because, well, Rich has dropped back out of the top 5, seemingly intentionally. Looks like things were getting a little bit too dicey for his taste and just decided to go hang out with Logan Paxa back there. Always a very reliable and responsible driver, so not a bad choice in the long-term scheme of things, because, of course, if they start to lose the pack too much, well, you can start doing the tandem back and forth to make your way up through the field. But Caleb Campbell will now be put in the top 5. He's right on the back of the number 38 of Carl Dronke, who himself is on the back of the number 6 of Max Preston. The field has caught David Paxa, so Andrew is very much in contention to take that top spot from David. But he's going to have to find a way to do it underneath. I think that top line, at this point in the run, is just a little bit too slow. On new tires, I think maybe you make it work with the guy on the inside having to wash up, having to brake to avoid the outside wall. But really, unless you get a really aggressive over-under that David is prepared for, I don't know how, if you're Andrew Bedrosian, you're getting that spot right now. We have now hit lap 100. It's only 75 laps left in tonight's race. It's a long time, and it's not a long time. It's kind of a combination of both, so not a ton of, I was going to say a ton of wiggle room left for guys that got to move from the back to the front, and a very fitting analogy to be sure, because Andrew just kind of got a little bit wiggly coming into turn number 3. He's okay for now, but Max Preston going to go side by side with Carl Dronke. Where is Rich Foligno gone? He's the guy I'm kind of keeping an eye on. I don't know if this is intentional anymore, because he's lost the draft so much that he's now about 2.5 seconds back. He's sitting with somebody who's a lap down, which maybe not a bad place to be. Or no, he's not. The other yellow car. So Rich has kind of dropped out there. We'll see if we can get another yellow or green flag pit stop, if he can repair whatever damage he's got going there on the number 99 car. Andrew again, though, going to try the over-under. You can see what he's doing. He's moving up to the top and trying to dive to the bottom, make whatever passes he needs that way. Carl Dronke dropped out of the session momentarily, but he still stays 4th for the time being. Andrew's trying it, though. You can see that over-under line he's got going. David's still defending it, though. He's got enough grip in those tires that, well, Andrew's going to have to find a different plan for the time being if he wants to get that top spot. This will give you a perfect angle of it, but you see that David is sitting on the bottom because he wants to defend the inside from a very hungry Andrew Bedrosian. But he, over the course of the run through the corner, washes up because you can't just hug a car on the inside of the yellow line when they're running this fast as these Indy Pro cars are. So you can only do that for so long before you're going to wash up, and if Andrew can time it perfectly, go from the top to the bottom, the exact moment when David washes up, which almost happened there, will coincide with the moment Andrew does get to the bottom. So he's trying his best to find a way. I think definitely, again, possible. It'll take some attempts and it'll take some risk. And this is, again, what happened earlier with Tim Salvatore, the incident that put Salvatore out of the race and Andrew to the back of the line. Doing his very best to recover, but it's easier said than done. Got to the bottom that time, but just barely couldn't clear the back end of the number 53 car. And if David's not ready, again, this is a two-person tandem move. If Andrew's going to get this move done, he has to rely on David Paxton not trying to hug the bottom once Andrew does get under him. Because if he does that, they're going to get into each other, and then one of Max Preston or Carl Dronke will become your new race leader. Rich Foligno still dropping back there in the number 99 car again. Maybe intentional, maybe not, but whatever it is, he is out of the top 6. Top 6, the end capped by a Paxa, the front capped by a Paxa. So it's a Paxa sandwich in the top 6 right now. After that, it's Rich Foligno 5 seconds back, Tanner Dignard 7, as well as Michael Krobach. Carl Dronke goes around, caution comes out. I was looking at the timing tower, missed the reasoning for that happening, but Carl Dronke, relatively little damage there, going to slide into the infield grass. Let's go keep an eye on how that happened. Going to go back to the replay. That was Caleb Campbell there behind him, but it didn't look like they made contact on my screen. Ooh. That looked like another netcode thing. If you saw there, it didn't look like Caleb made contact with him. Made a little bit there at the beginning of the corner. But certainly not enough that I would have thought would lead to that happening. So we'll have to watch that one more time. I'm really curious to see how that happened. Netcode, again, I've talked about it before in the past for those of you that don't know iRacing, but sometimes the iRacing collision system makes the quote-unquote hitbox for cars a little bit too big, so it seems like they make collision when they actually don't. You don't see them make collision on track, but the system thinks that the two collision boxes got together and in turn causes the drivers to spin, even if they didn't hit each other, and it looked like that was the situation there. Again, you see Caleb just barely gets into the back wheel. Carl loses the back end, but again, I don't think they made contact. It was close, certainly, but I would have thought it would take more than that to get Carl to spin around, so maybe we're not seeing the whole story here. Carl did get back up to speed. As we see here, this is live. Maybe he didn't. Carl is out on my screen. Carl has left the event, becoming the 5th driver to do so. So, guys, not really waiting around. If they get in an incident, it's kind of just, okay, let's head off. So far in this race, we now got 10 guys left of the original 15. So, on the one hand, it'll make cautions less frequent because, obviously, less drivers on track, less cautions to cause, but it's a shame to see. You know, you never want guys to have to drop out like that. And Carl was doing so well to that point. I mean, he was sitting up there in 3rd for gosh sake. Like, he was having a great battle there with Max Preston. Wasn't sure if Logan was going to lead there after this next restart, but he's going to head down pit road. So I guess decides against it. This will give Rich Foligno, though, who was dropping back quite a bit, an opportunity to pit for whatever damage was ailing him there, which will no doubt help his charge up to the front. We're going to go to another brief break here in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, as we are under caution, and always a good opportunity to do so in that situation. But thank you as always, ladies and gentlemen, for watching the 10th round of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series season at Iowa Speedway. We'll be right back in just a moment for the rest of tonight's event. And we're back here after a very brief break under caution. We are currently on board with David Paxa, who is going to be your leader to the next green flag for the 2nd time tonight. He led a significant portion of that, actually all of that last stint, I should say. Nobody was ever able to get by him. Just checking the chat here. Welcome to Gordon, coming from Alberta. Yeah, I'd imagine it's certainly not the warmest out there this time of year. Thank you for tuning in. Good to see we have viewers from all across Canada. It is an absolute pleasure. Justin Lewis there in the chat. Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that particular scenario. I know that I can't speak for the race direction side, at least not for my current position, but sorry to hear that, Justin. I know you were putting in your best tonight, and as you always do, so hopefully next week will be a chance to come back at Tsukuba, back to a road course, and maybe get podium number 2 this season after your one at Detroit. Just to answer James's question, yes, there is a lucky dog, always at the ovals, so the first place car, a lap down, will get the lucky dog, meaning they get one of their laps back, and in turn move up through the field. So Jack Hillier has gotten a few in the last couple of cautions. But the base car is going to take the left-hander onto pit road. David will lead Andrew, Caleb, Max, and Rich in the top 5 to the green. Green flag flies. Lap number 112 will begin in tonight's race, and David Paxa leads the field through turn number 1. The entire field makes it comfortably there through turns number 1 and 2. Now into turn number 3, Andrew Bedrosian will not get to the bottom of David Paxa this time. This would be the chance where his outside line would work. You saw just how much pace he had there coming out of turn number 4. Maybe thought about the inside, but is instead going to go to the outside, try the over-under again. This is the opportune time for Andrew to be doing what he's doing, but David is finding ways to stay on the bottom. He's having to lift a little bit, hence why Andrew's getting such a good run there on the top. But he's defending the bottom as best he can. That's what you got to do if you're David Paxa here to defend the lead. Side by side go the 53 and the number 5 car. Will Andrew clear him? If he can do so, he's okay. The 5 car doesn't quite get him. Andrew's a little bit gun shy to go down, but now he'll go. Andrew Bedrosian to the front of the field. What a move there on the outside around the tri-oval. Very tough to make outside passes work that well, but David had to whoa up just too much to make the corner without losing pace. So Andrew capitalized on the moment and now puts himself in the top spot. Great move there by the number 5 car. David will drop back to second, but Caleb Campbell and Max Preston, your battle for third. I know Caleb is definitely looking for his first podium of the season tonight. He said there's definitely some stakes on his end for him to get a podium this year, so hopefully this is the race where he can do so. He's trying to hold off Max Preston, who, well, very hungry for yet another podium this season. Max third in points. This would be a big race for him if he's able to come away on top, especially with Logan a couple spots back there, and if he can beat Andrew, that would be huge for his championship hope. Speaking of Logan Paxa, himself and Michael Krobach having a battle a little ways further back in the field. Michael and Logan, the only 2 champions ever in the former Karts Computers Racing Series. They battled to the end for the championship last season in the season 2 of that series. So they've definitely got some history together. They just haven't been on track in one of my series in quite a while. Logan doing his very best to stay in his slipstream, trying to get that 6th spot back from Krobach. But Michael Krobach, again, the Oval Masters, kind of found himself stuck in terms of track position towards the back of the field all race. So he'll have to find something new in order to get back to the front of the pack with the way this is going. Max Preston will make the move on Caleb Campbell, so he gets back into the top 3. Looks like he did the over-under there and dropped below Caleb there in turn number 3 last time by. Speaking of dropping under, it looks like David Paxa is back to the trickery that Andrew Bedrosian was trying to pull just a minute ago, trying to do the inside-outside. Andrew gets into David. Andrew goes around. Full 360, saves the car. What a save there by Andrew Bedrosian, but he is off the pace. No caution because no incident. David Paxa comes away with relatively little damage. What happened there? Make sure we don't have an incident. We don't. We're going to go back to a replay on that very quickly because what in the world just happened there? That was bizarre. Like, the 2 guys didn't seem to get together. David almost didn't react at all. But Andrew Bedrosian full 360 spin and saves it. I don't know. That was such a close margin. They just kind of tapped going for the same piece of track position. But one more time. Look at this spin from Andrew Bedrosian, keeping it off the wall. That is, I don't know how much driver input was in that, but that is one of the best saves I've ever seen. Look at the back end. Look at how close he comes back up to speed. What a move by Andrew Bedrosian. Oh, he's at the back of the line now, which obviously not where you want to be. Looking for his 2nd race of the season. He's a very aggressive, quick driver. That's not the spot he wants to be in, but man, what a save by Andrew Bedrosian. That was stellar. If I put together a highlight package for the end of the season, which I do plan to, that is for sure going in it. Great move there, Andrew, when you watch this back. Back to the front, though, that means David Paxa is back to being your race leader after that tap there on Andrew Bedrosian just a moment ago. Max Preston sitting behind him now. He just made the move on Caleb a moment ago, so he's trying to work that magic once again, this time for the top spot. Sitting very comfortably behind David Paxa there. Now he's going to look to the top, going to look to the bottom. Kind of a halfway version of the over-under that was being utilized there a moment ago by Andrew Bedrosian. So kind of a halfway version of that. It's not working for him quite yet. He might give the room to Caleb Campbell, actually. Now that Andrew's gone around, Caleb is back into the podium positions. He is battling for Tanner Digner. Neither Caleb, Tanner, or Marshall Crocker Sr. have a podium this year, all of whom are in the top 7. Caleb now going to look to the bottom. Max may have gone a little bit too early to the outside. He's going to give up the track position to Caleb Campbell, who's going to stick it into second. So Caleb Campbell, welcome to 2nd place here. He is moving up through the field. Max Preston now trying to defend on the outside from Michael Krobach. Again, where did Michael come from? Coming relatively out of nowhere now to battle for, 4th position now that Tanner Digner just cleared him to the inside. Now going to go side by side with Logan Paxa, who he was working with a moment ago. This is your top 6. Then Crocker and Felino have teamed up in 7th and 8th, a little ways back in the field, presumably waiting for a caution. Then Andrew Bedrosian after that trying to catch the rest of the field. So this is the top 4, again side by side between Paxa and Krobach there a little ways back. Caleb Campbell, though, doing everything he can to defend that 2nd spot. I'm really curious to see what Caleb's going to do here in terms of trying to get past David Paxa, what his plan is, because, Caleb isn't a very, outspoken guy. Like, he's a really nice speaker and always a pleasure to talk to, but he's never somebody that, he's not an Andrew Bedrosian, is what I'm trying to say. He's not one of those guys that's going to go out of his way to do crazy stuff, make big moves. He's a very sportsmanlike and very polite driver, so maybe that's about to change. Maybe this is the moment he's been waiting for. I'd be very curious to see, but Max Preston, if there's anybody you are going to have a tough time defending from, I'd say the top three would be obviously Logan, points leader, Andrew in second, and then Max in third. Max has just been flying all season. I don't know about the ovals. I know he's definitely a road course guy. Maybe the ovals are a different way. But he is going to have his work cut out for him. But he's done great so far. Caleb Campbell still just sticking it there in second, and if David keeps washing up there, as he's done a couple times, this may be Caleb's moment. And a Caleb Campbell win to make him the 7th winner of the season would be absolutely nuts. That would be so much fun to see. And again, don't want to jinx the poor guy, but he is doing everything he needs to do here to get win number 1 this year. Their turns number 1 and 2. Now not 129. We're getting close to the end. Going to be 45 to go next time by. Not much race left, and really only 6 guys are in contention for that win unless Crocker and Foligno can find a way to, leapfrog back and forth their way up to the top 6. Caleb, though, dropping back a little bit from David Paxton. David is starting to get clear again. Max Preston, if he's thinking long-term, probably going to want to wait in this battle with Caleb, but Tanner Dignard gets to the bottom. Max, oh, what a defensive move. Just barely avoids the front right tire of that number 55 car. That was a close margin, but he makes it through. Still, David and Caleb, I should say. Logan's at the back of the pack. He's still in contention for the lead, but David Paxton and Caleb Campbell always come out to the practices, always very talkative to each other, always trying to help each other out, so I know that they are 2 guys who are hopefully going to race each other clean, but Max Preston also a clean driver. Really, all of these top 6 guys, really guys that, deserve to be up here because they're always very clean. You don't see them make a lot of mistakes that bring in other people. Just a very solid group of top 6 guys here. It's a very interesting group battling for the lead here. Of course, only 3 of these guys in this pack have wins. David Paxa, Caleb Campbell, and Tanner Dignard do not to this point. And Caleb and Tanner, actually David as well, don't even have podiums to this point. So this would be a huge, what's the word I'm trying to look for? It would just be a huge shift in terms of the series going forward. And with only 5 rounds to go after tonight, there's not a lot of time left in the championship. This could be big for somebody like David Pax and Max Preston, especially with Andrew now back in 8th. This would be a big points race for the 3rd place. Max Preston trying to chase down the number 5 car in the points. They come across this time. It'll be 40 laps to go in 2 laps. 41 to go next time by. Caleb's still right behind, but Michael's trying to find a way to do something there on the top of Tanner Dignard. Let's go to maybe the gyro camera on Tanner Dignard's car. You see what he's looking at right in front of him. You see just how much of a bubble there is ahead of him. And in front, you see this is the trioval coming through turns number 4 and 1. So you just kind of hug the bottom and you try to woe the car up enough to keep it consistently through the corner. You see, not really pulling out a line there to get to the 3 cars in front, but Michael Krobach sitting pretty consistently there in that top line. Here is the number 72 car sitting on the top line, and must have a car to his inside. Yeah, I think Logan has... No, it doesn't look like he has. So Michael is intentionally setting a half line up, not even trying to get in the slipstream of that inside line. So maybe Michael has some thoughts about the tires that maybe they'll go quicker than expected, so that by the time the guys on the inside realize it, well, Michael will be the one who's burned up his tires last, and he'll be able to utilize that fresh rubber to his advantage. But now he's side by side with Logan Paxa, and this attempt to maybe conserve tires, he might give up his top 5 spot to our championship points leader. Logan is thinking about that bottom spot, but no, Michael is going to cover off the line for the time being. But again, it washes wide. It's working if you're trying to conserve tires, but long term, it's going to give up pace at a pretty considerable amount. So I would watch out for that if I was Michael Krobach. But now he's going to slide back into the inside lane. He's trying stuff. He's the Oval Master for a reason. I shouldn't doubt his abilities, and certainly his abilities to make strategy calls, but wow, he's trying stuff. He's trying stuff like Justin Lewick did. You can never fault guys for doing that. We're sitting in a pretty uniform point in this race where the top 6 have pretty much become inseparable from that bottom line. You got to find an alternative way to get through the field, and he is doing his very best. Now Michael Krobach going to dip to the outside on Tanner Dignard. Still doesn't work though. He's trying. He's doing his very best, but David Paxa doing what he does best, just hanging out, not really worrying about everybody behind him. And he's absolutely going to get the most laps led at this point. I don't think anybody can catch him if anybody's able to get by him. So there's a bonus point for David right there. But all race, he has just felt in control. Again, he doesn't have a podium yet this season. He doesn't have a win. He's gotten a lot of 4ths. I think he has 3 or 4 this season. So being close to the podium spots is certainly not unfamiliar for the 53 car. But he's going to have to figure something out here if he wants to defend at the end of this race. Because once the tires start to go, I know it's barely been a storyline at all. But they will. They will eventually start to lose traction, and then that inside line will become less and less viable. And when it does, you better have a backup plan, or else you're going to find yourself in trouble rather quickly. But he's breaking away, actually, through these last couple corners, so might be okay. Let's just start thinking about long-term strategy again while we wait for somebody to make a big move here. So here is the pit strategy graphic that shows the last time every driver on track pitted. So several guys have pitted multiple times throughout tonight's race. But everybody pitted 34 laps ago, and if I had to guess, that is going to be enough on fuel. So throw fuel out the window. Not going to matter. You got to think about this race in a different light. You got to think about it purely on track, because nobody has to make another green flag stop. Andrew Bedrosian just made the pass here on Marshall Crocker. Again, his recovery drive going well. He passed Rich Foligno, who still sits very far back on track. I don't know if he has damage or what happened to that number 99 car, but he has just not had the pace since early in the race. So we'll see what his situation is. Maybe with another yellow flag and another pit stop, maybe he'll get the damage repaired he needs to get back into contention of this race. But Marshall Crocker's sitting behind Andrew. He's not letting him get too far away. So if these two can team up and make the tandem work, Andrew might find himself back in the top 6, or I guess the top 7 if he's able to make it before the end of the race. Back to the front, though. Still Paxa, Campbell, Preston, your top 3. Dignard and Krobach running at the top 5. Dignard and Krobach, though, side by side once again. Feels like it's been that way every lap for quite a while, but Tanner's doing a great job of holding that inside line and not washing up into Michael. Seeing the guys that are on the inside every lap seem to be really reliable about keeping out of the way of the car on the outside, not causing any wrecks, which is, again, from the perspective of the series director, exactly what you want to see. You don't want to see guys getting into each other, but Michael will clear Tanner comfortably there this time by. Goes all the way around the outside on the backstretch and moves himself up into fourth. Side by side go Max Preston. Max gets under Caleb Campbell, so Caleb was comfortably in second there for quite a long time, but had to give up that inside line this lap. Michael might try to go with Max Preston. He's going to have a better run off the corner. He'll go side by side with Caleb into corner number 3. Caleb is able to clear him, though, so Caleb still in the podium spots, still in interview position, but Max is going to take over second and will now become the driver in charge of trying to find a way past David Paxa. Around turn number 1, once again, Caleb's doing a much better job of hugging that inside line, though. He's going to find a way. I think if he can keep that slipstream up as well as some guys have used it there from the inside lane, but Max is taken off. He looks comfortable. He's cleared Caleb by a bunch of car lengths. Now Caleb's under pressure from Michael Krobach, so I don't know what wizardry he's doing with tires. Maybe it's something similar to remember earlier at... I was about to make a reference to a different series. Okay, never mind. I was going to make a reference to a series I call on Wednesdays, but that is not this one, so I can't make that reference. But back to the race itself. It is really good to see there, looking at the YouTube chat. We got some Caleb Campbell support here, cheering on the number 11 car, presumably to not only get his first podium of the year, but to get his first win. Again, I apologize for jinxing him earlier. I'm going to try to cut that out for the rest of the race, but the 11 car defending from the Oval Master himself, as well as Tanner Dignard, who's had a great race to this point. What a performance this would be for Caleb Campbell if he's able to hold it. He's keeping it behind Max Preston. He's got the draft on the inside that Michael just doesn't if he stays on the top side. This is the perspective of Caleb Campbell right now. We're going to pull the track map off for just a moment. You probably have a good idea of where guys are on track if they're in this battle. You see live 241 kilometers an hour for that number 11 car. Watching the battle up front between two drivers sitting side by side. Max got to the outside of David through that third and fourth corner split, but still not quite able to make the move. Caleb got the slipstream, though. If he's able to keep it on the bottom, might think about a move on Max Preston. The opening is there. David's going to drop to the bottom, though, and Max gets underneath the cover. Caleb is so close. This is fun, man. These are the races you'd like to see if you're cheering on not only Caleb, but Michael Krobach's had a great race so far. Tanner Dignard looking for his first podium. No matter how this ends, this is going to be a big race. Michael Krobach, though, to the top of Caleb Campbell. He can't focus on the two guys in front quite yet. He's got to hold off the Oval Master, and he's got the inside line. So in terms of track position, Caleb is in a good spot. But he's really got to hold the inside here. Got to get back in the slipstream on the two guys in front, or else Tanner might go underneath. Going to block Tanner. Nice move there. The 11 car going to go back underneath, but Michael might clear him into turn number 1. He does. Michael's going to get around. Is he going to go to the bottom, or is he going to have to hold the top line? He does get to the bottom, so Michael Krobach back into third. Now Paxa, Preston, and Krobach, your top 3, but Caleb's peeking underneath. He is not ready to give up quite yet. He wants that final podium spot more than anybody in this field, I'd imagine. And Max Preston still wants the lead. 21 to go as we come by the line this time. If we don't get any cautions, we got about 7 or 8 minutes left of race time, so we are running out of time for guys to do something big. Michael going to dip to the outside, though. Max is still sitting right there behind the number 53 car, but got a little bit squiggly coming into turn number 3. The tire's starting to go on that number 6 car. Michael taking advantage. Michael Krobach, the Oval Master, to the top. Side by side go the number 6 and the number 72 car for second position, and Caleb now going to go to the bottom again. Michael may give up his spot here just because he decommitted from the inside of the line. We saw it happen to a couple guys earlier. We saw Tanner Dignard and Justin Lewick get shuffled out there from that outside line earlier, so they got to watch out, make sure they don't do the same thing here. Caleb, though, hugging the bottom. If Max wins this battle, so will Caleb. David Paxa taken off as a result of this. He is not worried about what's happening behind because, for all he's concerned, he's led most of this race. He's just got to stay where he is, and he is all set. We are 20 laps to go, 19 next time by the line, running out of time. Caleb now side by side with Michael. Oh, I thought Caleb might go to the bottom there. The spot was open. The chance was open. A 3 wide is aggressive, but Max going to get into Michael, taps the top side of that 72 car. So Max will get the corner. No incident as a result, but that was a very close margin between those two cars. That may be the opportunity Caleb needs, though. He's going to look to the bottom. He is ready to go by once again. He gets his spot back, so the 11 back in the podium spots. Tanner Dignard may be able to get to the inside as well. Michael's going to stick with the top side. Yellow flag comes out. Throw up the track map, see who that was. Jack Hillier apparently on track is the driver that'll bring it out. And the caution comes out. This makes things even more interesting. We're probably going to go back with 13, maybe 12 laps to go. So right as Caleb gets that spot back and is legally considered the third car going into the caution, we get the caution flag. So wow, what a green flag stint we had there. This has been a fun night. David Pax has been really, in terms of laps led, dominant, but the field has been so close this whole race. This has been great. So it's good to see that at least it wasn't an incident between the top however many guys that brought out the caution, because, well, you like to see all the leaders still be in contention for the end. But do you know who this does bring back into play? As not only Andrew Bedrosian, who is, after being out of that top group there for quite a while, out of the top 6, he was about 2 seconds back. And I didn't get time to mention it before the caution came out, but him and Marshall Crocker were teaming up quite well to make up time. They closed the gap to about 2.5 seconds there before the caution came out. So that was working for them, but now they get the free caution flag that will bunch them back up to the rest of the field. Andrew Bedrosian going to come into the pits. Same with Rich Foligno. I think Rich has had a lingering damage the entire race. I think that's why he's off the pace. So this will be his quick repair. He's finally going to use it. And he's going to have a 12-lap dash to the finish to try to put himself back in the podium spots where he's been all week through our practice races. Andrew will pit as well. Same with Jack Hillier, who presumably had damage from the incident. I didn't get a chance to go to it, but we are running out of time here. The cautions get even quicker here towards the end of the race. So Andrew will pit, putting Marshall Crocker Sr. in 7th. David Pax and Max Preston, Caleb Campbell, Michael Krobach, and Tanner Dignard are your top 5 heading into the final restart. We're going to take a very quick break, going to grab some water before our end of race and the interviews, where things I'm sure are going to get very vocally taxing. Going to take a very quick break, but we'll be right back right in time for possibly your final restart of tonight's round 10 at Iowa Speedway. Well, we still got time left in the caution, but I got to call this thing. This has been an incredible race so far, and we got to talk about your top, I guess it's 9 guys left on the lead lap going into possibly the final restart of tonight's race. Lights on the pace car probably off. I think we're going to have about a 13-lap dash to the finish, which, if we go entirely caution-free, will be about 4 minutes. Things are about to be going quick, and I wouldn't say chaotic. I certainly hope not, but we will find out. David Paxa, your race leader. He's dominated most of the event, led almost every lap. The lights on the pace car are off. Thank you, David, for showing me that camera angle. So, David Paxa, Max Preston, Caleb Campbell, your top 3. Caleb looking for his first podium. David looking for not only his first podium, but his first win. Would become the 3rd ever driver in this series to get their first win as their first podium. Michael Krobach, the Oval Master, is back up to 4th. Scott Norman called it there in the chat as he's said that he was certainly not out of this thing, and he noticed him in the background making his way through the field. He's made his way all the way up to 4th. Tanner Dignard rounds out the top 5. We'll see if he can put himself in the podium spots. Logan Paxa in 6th. Marshall Crocker in 7th. Andrew Bedrosian in 8th is recovered. And Rich Foligno, damage repaired at the back of the line. We are ready to go here. The lights on the pace car are off as we come through turn number 4. This is going to be the finish. We have a green flag or a green-white checker there at the end if we need it. But green flag flies for the 10th round of the Iowa race for the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series season. And David Paxa is off towards turn 1, just taking off there on the start. He's had some great jumps throughout tonight's race, but Max has the ideal line here coming into turn number 2. He'll get in the slipstream on these two guys side by side now. Caleb Campbell and Michael Krobach once again the battle for 3rd. Michael's got the more ideal top line, but if Caleb's tires are warmed up, he can hold that bottom line. He can. We're still side by side between the two of them. Michael's going to get the better run, but Caleb's just got to defend the bottom. Keep the bottom line there into turn 1 and you're okay, but Michael's going to clear for the time being. This is not over, though. Caleb's now in the slipstream spot that Michael was in a moment ago. Logan Pax is in 5th to round out the top 5. He's past Tanner Dignard there off the restart. Andrew Bedrosian's past Marshall Crocker. So is Rich Foligno further back in the field. So they are still very much in play. This is the battle, though, for the final podium spot. Caleb Campbell is in the draft. He wants to take it. And just a reminder, one thing I should say here, you can consider it as counting or not, but Michael Krobach's points, because he's a part-timer, do not count. So if he finishes where he is, Caleb will get 3rd place points. It'll be considered a 3rd in the points respects, but you know he wants that 3rd on track. He is still right there on the back of the number 72 car. We'll keep an eye on this lead battle as well. Very close between Pax and Preston. Preston's going to go to the bottom. Preston gets into Pax, so they get together. Yellow flag comes out. David Paxa, who had been so competitive for the lead, had been just untouchable from that top spot for so long. And just like that, it all comes crumbling down. Max Preston there through the tri-oval sends it to the bottom. Oh, he was comfortably there too. It was late, but he had the bottom line, and David, in an attempt to block, I'm guessing his spotter just didn't update him in time. That was one thing we had very commonly throughout practice all week. I'm guessing his spotter just didn't update him in time, and just like that, that will bring David's chances at the win not to an end, but it certainly gets a lot tougher. David Paxa, man, what a performance he's had to this point. That would have been a great moment there for him. But Max and David, that's just racing. That's as competitive as it gets. Both guys going for the same piece of track. I think Max was he was allowed to go to the bottom there. It was a big move. He had the bottom line into the corner, didn't slide up. It was just the slightest miscalculation. Max will head to the pits and use a quick repair. I think he has one left, so he'll be hopefully good to go if he can get out of the pits in time for this final restart. Presumably final. We'd have to have a pretty instant caution to bring out the green-white checker, but it is a possibility. Michael Krobach comes into the pits. He wants fresh tires, which means going onto your final restart, Caleb Campbell will lead the field to green here. I kid you not. Before this race, about an hour before, I was talking to Caleb beforehand about, starting tactics, what the best thing to do was in this situation. Because Caleb, I don't think has to this point led a restart. He's got fuel. So I don't think he's going to come into the pits. And if he starts here, it's his responsibility to go for the green flag. He can decide once the pace car pulls in when he wants to accelerate. So he is in control of the field. And Caleb Campbell, man, Caleb cheering section, get ready. If you guys are excited, as I honestly am, because holding off the championship points leader, probably going to be 3 or 4 laps to go. Like, Caleb is in charge of his own destiny here to the finish. Tanner Dignard, we didn't even talk about him yet. He's in the top 3. Tanner Dignard's in the podium spots as well. He's been up front all race and goes from 5th to 3rd there in one incident. That incident between Max and David is going to have huge repercussions through the rest of tonight's event. So that was big, but this finish is going to be even bigger. The lights on the pace car might come off this time. Everybody is grouped up there behind the pace car. So 8 drivers in contention for the win. David Paxa goes a lap down as a result of getting back to the pits on his, very broken tires there after that last incident. One more lap to go, so we're going to go green with 4 to go. 4 laps to go in tonight's event. 4 laps takes about a minute and a half here at Iowa Speedway. So things are about to get nuts. We have the green-white checkered if we need to use it. But this will be your restart. Caleb Campbell, you see him in the front trying to warm his tires up. And this would be huge. Like, he's good in the points. We haven't really talked about him in the points championship too much, because usually when I show the points, I'm focused on, top of the field, guys fighting for the championship. But this could be big for him. A win here might even put him in the top 5. This could be an absolutely huge performance. So again, don't want to jinx him. Don't want to jinx him at all. Don't want to put the pressure on. But this could be big. So lights in the pace car are going to come off this lap. Tanner Dignard again in the top 3 as well. I don't want to discount the race he's had. He's looking for his first podium, and he's done incredible to this point. He stayed out of incidents. All the guys had to avoid that incident there between Paxa and Preston. It's not like it was out of the way entirely. So everybody who's here has deserved it to this point. Max Preston will now take up the back of the line there in the back of the top 8. Andrew Petrosian's made his way all the way back to 4th. He's had a great recovery drive since an earlier incident. Rich Foligno as well. He's in the top 5. He was great in practice this week. Keep an eye out over there for the number 99 car in this last 3 laps. The lights in the pace car still on, so we're going to go to a delayed start. We're still going, and now we're going to go green on lap number 173 unless we get delayed earlier. So 3 laps. You've seen all race with guys jumping where they're jumping the starts, where they're accelerating. It takes a while to catch up to the car in front, especially as the leader, because you get to pick your opportunity when you go, and then it's the responsibility of the guy behind to stay on the slipstream. I've said before in this series, if there's 3 guys, I even said it earlier this race, if there's 3 guys you don't want behind you in a restart, it is Andrew Bedrosian, Michael Krobach too. But it's Andrew Bedrosian, Logan Paxa, and Max Preston. And he's got Logan Paxa, championship points leader, right behind him. It's not going to be easy, but he will have the ideal jump off the restart. Yeah, Amy Campbell in the chat says exactly what I'm sure everybody is thinking. I will stop jinxing it and stop overplaying it, because I don't want to jinx anybody, but this will be a great finish. Regardless of how this ends, I'm really hoping it doesn't end in a wreck between the leaders, but if it does, hey, Tanner Dignard very much in contention for the win in his own right. I think Andrew Bedrosian's going to be kind of a wild card here. What is he planning on this restart? He's had 2 incidents earlier this race, including one fighting for the lead. Maybe he's going to be a little bit gun-shy. Maybe he's thinking about the long-term points championship with Logan. Maybe he's content with where he's sitting to keep the championship battle competitive. Maybe Rich Foligno, again, got his top place of the season, finished 4th last week. So he's doing the best he has in this series all season. Maybe the momentum will carry him to the front. Marshall Crocker's ahead of Michael Krobach here, sitting 6th on this next restart. Maybe he can give himself his first podium of the year. Michael pitted for tires intentionally. Maybe he's thinking of something involving tires. Maybe he'll just have the best rubber in the field to lead him to the green. Whatever it may be, this is about to be it. 3 to go. If a caution comes out before the white flag, we will have a green-white checker. But if it does not, the next flag ends the race after lap 174 concludes. The pace car heads onto pit road. Caleb is the control car. When will he go? Green flag comes out. Caleb Campbell leads the field to green. The start of lap number 173. Not a lot of race left. Going to go to the top. Gets a great angle into the corner there for that first corner to save tires. Tanner and Andrew side by side. Andrew immediately goes to the bottom of Tanner Dignard. So Andrew will make the move for 3rd. Side by side go Caleb and Logan at the front of the field. Logan Paxa goes to the outside. He clears Caleb Campbell. So Logan immediately back to the front. Now Andrew's going to get him. So Caleb Campbell moving back up there. He's still in the podium spots though. Now Marshall Crocker out of nowhere going to go down below Tanner Dignard. Logan Paxa is taking off, but this battle is crazy back here. Caleb's still in 3rd. Marshall Crocker has cleared Rich Foligno. So it's Foligno side by side with Dignard. Michael Krobach going to go above Rich Foligno. This is Marshall Crocker's onboard cam. He's trying to catch up to Caleb Campbell. Now Foligno's going to go to the top of Campbell. White flag comes out. The next flag ends the race. Logan is considerably up front. He has got room to work with. Andrew Bedrosian trying to track him down. This will be the battle for the lead. Coming up to turns number 3 and 4. 2 guys that have come out of nowhere in this race. Back to the top 2. The top 2 in the championship. Out of corner 4. I think Andrew's going to be too late. Logan Paxa out of nowhere. Win number 6 this season. First oval of the year. Who gets the final spot? Caleb Campbell. He has done it. He has taken the number 3 spot. He may have been the leader coming up to that final restart, but man, 2 very hungry drivers behind him just had perfect restarts. Logan is doing his burnout already, but Caleb Campbell, there is the podium. Fireworks going off in the background for whoever you consider them to be for. Tanner gets his best finish of the season in 4th. Michael Krobach gets 5th. Rich Foligno finishes 6th. Max Preston 7th. Marshall Crocker 8th. Caleb is the only driver left on track. He is just hanging out, probably soaking it in. What a great moment for him. Gets his first podium of the season. I believe he becomes the 9th or 10th driver to do so. He is still hanging out, but there is Logan Paxa. Let's put it up as we always do. Mr. Logan Paxa. He has done it, man. What a race for the number 16 car. We didn't talk about him much, but that's because, after that initial pairing with his dad and him, the two Paxas dominated so much of the earlier portion of the race, and his dad, who had so many laps tonight, I kind of forgot about Logan entirely, but man, once we got to that final restart, he just got a great jump on Caleb. Almost nothing the 11 car could do about it, and well, by the time things were said and done, he holds off Andrew Bedrosian for his 6th win of the year, his first oval win in quite a while. He gets them all the time, but tonight was a big one. Those will be your top 3 for tonight's race. It is Logan Paxa winning from Andrew Bedrosian in 2nd. Caleb Campbell, podium number 1 this year. He is still on track. He's going to run that thing out of gas, it would seem. Maybe he has. I thought I heard his gearing run out. There we go. Celebratory slide. Caleb sends it around. He is pumped. What a performance for him. He is just, he's going to run that thing out of field, but he's the last car left on track, so he might as well stay here until he heads off. Okay, that's loud. We're going to close that off a little bit. It's a little bit noisy. And now he is off. What a race. That was an incredible race at Iowa. I hope that was, I think I would consider it the best finish of the year. I hope you guys can agree with me on that one. That was a great race. Let's just go back to your proper standings here. Oh, we got everything on screen. I'm just frazzled, man. I've been very, very busy these last 175 laps for good reason. And there are your final results. Logan Paxa gets his 6th win of the season, still your points leader, and will extend his lead even more. But Andrew Bedrosian, sitting 2nd in the points, did everything he could to close the gap. Only a 10th back of Logan at the finish line. He will finish in 2nd. And Caleb Campbell, podium number 1 this year. It was a great final start. He did everything he could to hold on to that spot, and in the end, he was able to do it. 3rd place for Caleb. Tanner Dignard will finish in 4th, his best finish of the season. Michael Krobach still takes the top 5. Won't sweep all of his oval appearances this season, but he certainly came close. He will finish 5th. Rich Foligno, the final car on the lead lap, finishes in 6th. Marshall Crocker and Max Preston must have got into each other at the white flag after the line, because they both will finish a lap down after being in contention there towards the end. Not sure what happened to them there. David Paxel will finish 9th. Jack Hilliard, the last driver remaining at the end of the race, in 10th. Carl Dronke after that in 11th. Justin Lulick in 12th. Manuel Guerra and John Guerra respectively in 13th and 14th. And Tim Salvatore, your pole sitter, left after an early collision on lap number 14. Well, there are your finishing spots for tonight's race, and that was great. I'm glad to see the chat was very excited. It was a great finish, and oh, what a performance. I really hope, is Caleb in the lobby? He is. We are going to have an interview here with Caleb Campbell. Let's put up the graphic for the first time this season. There is Mr. Caleb Campbell's graphic for the podium. So let's just get ready. We're going to get the audio synced up here for tonight's interview, and we'll pull Caleb Campbell into the booth. Hey, Caleb, it's Marshall in the booth. You got me?
Yep, I got you.
Awesome. Well, first of all, man, congratulations. That was an incredible race from you and everybody around you. You were so consistently up front there in the battle all race. So, talking about Iowa specifically, talking about the track, I know you've been quick all season at a lot of tracks. I remember earlier this year at the Ovals, you did quite well. Do you feel comfortable specifically at the Ovals here? Do you find this style of racing very comfortable? And how are you able to stay at the front for such a large portion of tonight's race?
I like the ovals. They're pretty fun. I'm comfortable with it, I think. And I was just like trying to stay out of all the crashes. Just stay clean.
Yeah, that was the most important thing tonight. We saw a couple of cautions, but you and a couple of the other guys, really anybody that finished in the top 5 did a good job at doing so. So you were staying out of the crashes, but after that, you found yourself in first with 3 to go. I mean, after Michael pitted for his pit stop and you avoiding the wreck there at the front between Max and David, you were leading with 3 laps to go. What was your strategy to defend? What do you think happened there with Logan? And just what made you feel so comfortable there at the end that even after they got by you were able to hold off that final podium spot?
Off the start, I had a little bit of damage, so I couldn't really do that much. I didn't want to pit in because I knew I'd start at the back if I did that. And so I was just trying to defend kind of, and then just stay in the front.
Yeah, I think it was the best decision in the end for you, because had you pitted, you kind of would have been out of the battle entirely. So I think it was a good decision. It worked for you, and even with the damage, you stayed well clear of the guys behind. So it was a great finish, Caleb. And just overall, the final question is like, what is the feeling, man? Like, you've had such a great season at this point. You've had a couple top fives, but to get on the podium, I know it meant a lot to you. I was talking to you before the race. What does it feel like to finally get there, that third place position tonight?
Yeah, I was excited. I'm really happy right now.
And do you think we're going to see it again, later this year? Do you think this is the first of a couple?
I hope so.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Caleb. It was a pleasure to watch tonight, man. And you get your first podium of the season. You were looking for it. We got another oval in a couple weeks at Gateway, so we'll see if you can make it 2 for 2 in the last 2 ovals. But overall, congratulations, Caleb. As we always do in the interviews, is there anybody you want to thank at home? You had quite the cheering section, so if you can rattle off some names, I'm sure they'd appreciate it. But overall, anybody you want to thank at home, or sponsors, if you have any?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Franklin Self Storage, and I'd also like to thank my spotter Josh, and my friends and family, and my mom and dad.
Awesome. Well, I know that your mom, at least, presuming her name is what I assume it is, was definitely in the chat all race, was definitely very active, and I know she was pulling for you. So congratulations, Caleb. Go celebrate with whoever you got there at home with you, and just congratulations, man. We can't wait to watch you next week.
Yep, thank you.
And that was Mr. Caleb Campbell there, the first interview of the night. Now, second coming up in the booth, we got Mr. Andrew Petrosian, who had a very eventful race, had a couple incidents in his own right, but was able to recover in the end, all the way back to second. Hey, Andrew, it's Marshall in the booth. You got me? There we go. Sorry, I had the mics a little bit off center. Now we're all good. Wow, Andrew, you had quite the event there, man. That was from start to finish. I know that incident there with Tim at the beginning. First of all, do you want to talk us like what happened there from your perspective? I know it was a little bit up in the air in that incident. What happened, and then from there, what was your strategy from recovering from the back of the field there at the start? Oh, hey, Andrew, you still got me?
You got me.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, I wasn't sure if. Okay, well, we're good. Sorry, I was just about to say, so from the start there, you had a great race overall. The recovery drive was incredible, but there at the start, you were put behind the 8-ball early. That incident there with Tim, first of all, what happened there from your perspective? And then after it, once you get back on track, how were you able to recover all the way back to second over such a long period of time?
Yeah, I mean, this track, it's different from all the other ones that we've raced on. It's really, you have to... It's sort of like the last 2 ovals of the season. This and Gateway will put the driver back in control of the car. Mostly like Texas and Indianapolis. I mean, it's really just holding down the gas and managing the throttle. But with these, you could easily see after probably about 20 to 40 laps. That's when people couldn't hold the bottom as well. And yeah, I mean, with Tim, he looked like he was just going to go for the second lane up. And I was clear of Logan. And yeah, just try to stick the car into a lane it wasn't supposed to, I guess. And I mean, I feel like that's just a racing incident. No fault on Tim and no fault on me, so...
Well, after that, I mean, you had quite a recovery there in the middle. I know you and my dad were working together, kind of flip-flopping spots back and forth to make your way back up to the front. And then the battle at the very end. First of all, I think you started, third or fourth there on the restart. So Caleb was leading. You saw him kind of drop back when Logan made the move. Do you just kind of want to walk us through the last couple laps and what got you back to this point and so close to Logan there at the line?
Yeah, I mean, I know David, I think it was Netco, but it just seemed that he just ran over the back wheel, no caution. Thankfully, I think I kept it pretty much off the wall, just 360, which was kind of scary. But yeah, I think it sort of felt like I broke a toe link in the back right wheel, which it was really, really sketchy. It felt like a faster car, probably because of the clean air and all the other cars battling up ahead. But basically, yeah, just Marshall Senior let me by, and he just followed my lead, and yeah, we were able to work it up. And I didn't want to bring it in until, because I mean, hopefully we would have had a caution, which we did, and just brought it in, took a quick repair, no gas, just tires, so I can stay as light as the other cars. And yeah, I mean, basically at the end, just try to work my way up. I got in front of Tanner because I knew the tires were going to be cold, so I knew Caleb was going to slide up the track. And yeah, just you really have to anticipate the slide job and trying to hit the apex perfectly, so you just hit your marks. And I know I got a big hit on the gearbox from Tanner, but yeah, no damage there, and got second tonight, so happy.
As you should be. It was a very competitive race. You had a lot of adversity to overcome, but you did so. And second place tonight, Andrew. It's always a pleasure to see you there on the podium. You had a great race. You'll continue your championship fight there with Logan for the top spot. But as we always do in the interviews, to round off tonight, is there anything anybody you want to thank at home? Any sponsors you want to mention?
Yeah, I want to thank my family and friends for watching. I want to thank Samuel's Realtors, JP West Photo, and the Bedford School. They've been really great in supporting me, and hopefully we put on a great show for you. And I want to thank you for putting this all together, Marshall.
Awesome. Well, always a pleasure. And thank you as always, Andrew. You make these races fun. You made the finish one of the best in recent memory, certainly the best that I think we've put on in this series for a while. So thank you, man. Great. Can't wait to see you next week at Tsukuba. I know you'll be quick there. You'll be a good pace setter for the rest of the field. So we'll see you next Friday for round number 11.
All right, I'll see you, Marshall.
See ya. Thanks, Andrew. And with that, we'll round off your second interview of the night. Now to your race winner for the 6th time this year, first oval in a while, Mr. Logan Paxo. Let's pull him in the booth for your final interview of the night. Hey, Logan, it's Marshall in the booth. You got me?
I got you, Marshall.
Awesome. Well, first of all, man, you always find a way to do it. Even when we kind of count you out, there's so many names there up at the front, including your father there. He had such a great race, but you find a way. You get your first oval win in quite a while in one of my series, but also the 6th of the season. Just, I mean, first of all, what was the strategy there? Was it an intentional strategy, as I assume it was there, between your dad and you trying to coordinate the push up there to the front? And after those cautions happened and you got shuffled, back through the field with strategy and such, what was the recovery like? What was your strategy going from the back to the front there?
Oh, well, simply, I just knew that I wanted to be in the top 5 by lap 25. To me, it didn't matter where I was before that time, right? I just wanted to avoid wrecks, right? Take opportunities where I could get them. And then at that little, with 25 laps to go, that's when I would start going for positions, trying to make up spots.
Right, and it was a good strategy, because really, at the end there, all you had to do was be in contention for the win. And once all the chaos there happened with Caleb and everybody at the front, they're at the restart. I know we had 2 restarts towards the end of the race. At what point did it kind of click in that you were there in contention for the win, and how were you able to get such a good jump there on Caleb on that last restart?
So, typically with restarts on ovals with cars that gain a lot of speed from draft, you always want to make sure that the guy behind you is as close as possible to you on the restart so that he doesn't get that much of a run. Caleb went a little early, so I had that gap where I could close up, gain as much momentum as possible, and carry it around him, right? That's how I got that good of a jump.
Well, you took the jump. You were able to hold off Andrew there at the end, and you found a way, man. You always seem to, and your dad had a great race, so be sure to pass that message on for me, because if it wasn't for that crash there at the end with Max, I think guys would have had a tough time passing him, and he'll certainly lead the most laps in tonight's race. So you two both, you made the Paxa family proud tonight. You had a great race, each of you individually. And finally, before we head off, just next week at Tsukuba, and then after that, we have a race at Silverstone and then at Spa-Francorchamps. With how many road courses we got coming up in the schedule towards the end of the year, are you feeling like you're confident about holding that top spot in the championship? Do you think you can hold off Andrew, who also had a great race tonight?
Oh, we'll see what happens, but I'll certainly try my best. roller coasters are always fun, but they always present a lot of variables as to what could happen. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but I'll definitely try my best to hold that top spot.
That's what I like to hear. You always find a way to, and you certainly did tonight. As we always do in the interviews, is there anybody at home you want to mention? I know your family is very active in the chat as always tonight. It's always a pleasure to have them. And any sponsors you want to mention for tonight's win?
Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone watching, all my family. I'd like to thank Special Interest Auto. I'd like to thank Prime Power Team. Gavin Sanders and Justin DiBenedetto for doing the Bathurst 12 hours with me tomorrow morning. And I'd like to thank you, Marshall, for putting all this stuff together.
It is always a pleasure, especially when you give us finishes as entertaining as that. It makes my job as a commentator very easy. And you gave us quite the eventful race tonight, you and everybody else. It was a great race, and you were certainly a large part of it. So best of luck tomorrow at Bathurst. I won't be able to make it, but let me know how yours goes. I know you've had success in the past in the enduro side of things, so I hope you can carry your win from tonight over, maybe to one tomorrow at Panorama. But best of luck, Logan. Have a great rest of your week, and we will see you next Friday at Tsukuba.
See you later, Marshall.
And that will round off your final interview of the night. Gonna post again the final results for tonight's race. It was Logan Paxa, Andrew Bedrosian, and Caleb Campbell getting his first podium of the season, and an absolute barn burner of a finish. Tanner Dignard and Michael Krobach will round out the top 5. Well, for the rest of the drivers in the carts, I keep going at that, man. One day I'll remember. But the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series. For myself and all the drivers, I am Marshall Crocker Jr., your commentator and host, and I will see you all next Friday. Have a great rest of your week, everybody, and we will see you at Tsukuba for round number 11. Bye, everybody.